everyone that's in the room. Danielle Williams, thank you so much for being here. Chris Routh, glad you made it. Red Zeppelin, hashtag FMOABPD, hello. I was chatting with you earlier, I think in the comments. Glad you made it. Patricia Jackson, thank you so much for being here. And Jinxie, how is everyone doing? I worked a little today and I did some responsibilities that I had to do, check some things off of my to-do list. I'm feeling pretty good about it. I'm glad that I was able to come back and do a live stream today. Yesterday we were at it for 7 hours. We hung in there and we stuck it through. And yeah. Jimmy Jackass says Brian is hiding in downtown Schenectady, New York right now. That's crazy. I'll definitely look into it, but what we ended up doing yesterday is basically going through the news clips that I found from September 16th through, I want to say September, 21st. That was 5 days of news clips, and it took us 7 hours, but we did it. Today we're gonna try to go through as much of my playlist as possible. If I have to do a part 3, we'll do that. Tomorrow I do work 2 shifts, but you know, I'll try to come back at least for like an hour or something, just like to touch base and try to get through this playlist, because I am working on another playlist, and that was going to be updates of the stories that I covered in summer. And then I got a little backed up on that with work, and then I decided to cover the Gabby Petito story. So like those updates are kind of have been put on the back burner, and I want to bring them back out. I'll be talking about Tristan Bailey, and I want to say Aiden Leos, and some other stories that I covered in summer. But for today, we're going to revisit my Gabby Petito and Brian Laundrie playlist. So we will be watching news clips from starting September 21st, and then we'll just see how far we get into it. So I hope everyone is doing good. I do plan to make this a long live stream, probably not 7 hours like yesterday. But again, I just want to try to get through as much of this playlist as possible. So for those of you that are new, we're starting with September 21st, so this isn't going to be like super brand new, like breaking news or nothing like that. I did want to cover this story, and for my own documentation purposes, I wanted to have as much information as I could find from my live stream, my channel. Jimmy Jackass says he was spotted coming off the train tracks by several witnesses, and he was last seen going down Broadway. I'll definitely look into that. I doubt there'll be like a news report so soon, because it sounds like you're talking about something that just happened recently, so it'll probably take some time for like the media to catch on to it. People usually spread the news a lot faster than the news does. Alright, so let's start with the first clip. It's going to be called Gabby Petito, New Details on Intense Search for Fiancé Brian Laundrie. And this was back on September 21st, which was, let me see, like 2 Tuesdays ago, so like about 2 weeks ago. Alright, let's
called search. Northport police estimate that about 75% of the land that they're looking into is covered in water. That, including marshy terrain and rain that comes in every day, is adding to a search that is already difficult enough. And I want to go ahead and show you some video right here. These are some of the vehicles that are being used to aid investigators. They are swamp buggies. It allows searchers to sit up high and remain protected from elements. It can also get into those deeper waters, which sometimes contain alligators and snakes. Now, canines have also been brought back in looking to pick up on any trail. And if Brian Laundrie was in the area, we know last Friday articles of his clothing were given to investigators to help pick up on his scent. The Northport Police Department took some video of the terrain and provided an interview with the commander, explaining they are utilizing multiple tools to help in their search, including high altitude drones.
We'll mix the resources and deploy them out so that if they encounter flooded areas or terrain that they can't access with these wheeled vehicles, we'll deploy our drones directly out into the wooded area.
And investigators remain under the assumption that this is Brian Laundrie's last known location. That's after his parents reported him missing last Friday. They say this is where he was headed. We also know that the Okaloosa County Sheriff's Office is looking into this photo it posted on Facebook. Captured by a trail cam in North Florida, several people reported it, wondering if it was Laundrie. That tip and others are being vetted by investigators. And the one question that we've had also is, why this part of the Carlton Reserve? The Northport Police Department had called off their search yesterday with the reserve in the Northport area. But I can tell you this is a very fluid investigation. Keep in mind the Carlton Reserve has a lot of trails out there. Some of them lead to areas that are developed, others lead to undeveloped land. So they are really combing over any area searching for Brian Laundrie. Daytona, back to you.
Yeah, Kim, we understand that the conditions are not great, and then also the weather conditions not great today too. Has it been raining there?
Well, so far, investigators here in Venice have lucked out. It hasn't rained now. They called the search on just before 9 a.m. today. That's when they started this. Hasn't rained yet, but those dark clouds are moving in, which once again will add to those already muddy and swampy conditions out here.
Kim, any new information on the latest from the family of Brian Laundrie? Do they have anything to say?
Yeah, so yesterday we learned that the Laundrie family was going to give a press conference through their attorney. That, of course, was canceled last night. As of right now, the Laundrie family has remained silent. We do know that the FBI and investigators were seen going to Brian Laundrie's parents' house in Northport and also his sister's home in Lakewood Ranch with those search warrants and documents. But that's the last really known sighting that we've seen of them.
All right, Fox 13's Kim Quizon bringing us the latest per usual at the search.
All right, I'll stop that there. By the way, I was just recalling that I had gotten a comment on my last live stream, and I kind of, to be honest, I kind of wanted to run this by you all. I didn't want to just make like a choice without like talking to everybody first. But let me go ahead and stop sharing the screen so I could show you what this comment was. You could all see for yourselves what people are telling me. Alright, so this was a nice comment by Sierra, and I put a heart. Okay, so what they said was, I have to admit, I really like your videos, even though most of the time I don't catch you live. Yesterday I finally watched you live, but I have to say, it is very annoying that you stop a video you're playing just to say hi or other non-related things to people. Why not type those in the chat instead? I would understand if you stop a video if you have a comment regarding the video or you read a comment about the video. I saw you having 40 viewers at some point, but when you would stop the video and read unrelated comments or just talk about something unrelated, the viewers would drop. So what do y'all think about that? Real quick, Chris Ross says, I've never figured out if they searched the reserve solely based on what Laundrie said, or was there other evidence to warrant searching there. I'm not too sure. Bridget Stars says, shout out to Queen's Throne for sharing this live. Did she? I gotta thank her for that. I didn't get a notification, but that's awesome. Thank you for letting me know. I'll definitely thank her for that. Hey Jinxie, glad you're here. Patricia says they're going by what the parents said, causing their hiding him. Alright, so just let me know if you feel like that individual did about me stopping videos to like say hi to people or to like read comments that are not related to what we're talking about. Should I just go ahead and put those types of comments in the chat? The reason I don't do that is because sometimes the video is very short and I'm in the middle of like typing, and before I know it the video like ended. So I just kind of got into the habit of just like pausing the video and then like saying what I want to say. Jinxie says, I think she or he should make their own channel if they want to, because I think you're completely fine. Thanks. I appreciate that. But I will keep that in mind. I definitely, can take constructive criticism. I mean, at least they were polite about it. I just kind of wanted to run that by everyone to see like how everybody else was feeling about it. But let's continue on our playlist to stay on topic. The next video is called FBI confirms body found in Wyoming is Gabby Petito, manner of death homicide. And this is courtesy of Fox News, and this was most likely posted September 21st. It was.
The FBI in Denver announcing autopsy results confirming that the body found in Wyoming has been identified as Gabby Petito. For more on that, let's go to Laura Ingle outside the coroner's office in Jackson, Wyoming. Laura.
Well, good afternoon. We have been here all day awaiting word, knowing that today's autopsy was taking place. There was a flurry of activity a short while ago. We weren't sure what that was. And as you just mentioned, the FBI tweeting out the results that coming from the Teton County coroner, Dr. Brent Blue, confirming the remains that were discovered here in Wyoming on Sunday are those of Gabrielle Petito. They gave out her birth date of March 19th, 1999 in confirmation. The coroner's initial determination for the manner of death is homicide. Along with this announcement, the FBI in Denver also put out a tweet with an additional statement that I will read to you, saying the FBI's commitment to justice is at the forefront of each and every investigation, said FBI Denver Special Agent in Charge Michael Schneider. The FBI and our partners remain dedicated to ensuring anyone responsible for or complicit in Miss Petito's death is held accountable for their actions. And Mr. Brian Laundrie has been named a person of interest. Anyone with information concerning Mr. Laundrie's role in this matter or his current whereabouts should contact the FBI. Important to note, he is still being considered a person of interest even at this point. I just spoke to the family attorney in New York, representing all the parents involved here for Gabrielle Petito, and they said that they could confirm that the family knows that the identification has been made. They told us earlier today that once Gabby is brought home, that is when the family will issue a statement in person. We are expecting a press conference at some point from them when she is returned home. Greg?
Thanks, Laura.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe.
That was devastating to hear when I first found out about that part. I was really hoping that she was going to be okay. I mean, a part of me is like, I don't know, maybe pessimistic, maybe realistic, just depending on how you look at it. But I kind of had a feeling that things weren't going to be okay, especially after seeing the body cam footage and knowing that there was domestic violence already going on between them. But I was still holding out hope that she would be okay, and hearing that she was officially deceased was devastating. And condolences to her family, her friends, anybody that is seriously affected by this tragedy, because it has been very, like...
I want to get to a news alert right now on the Gabby.
I had a feeling that it was gonna play by itself. But like, just researching this situation, like, I become emotionally invested into it too, and I just feel like I'm right there, like with all the information that comes in and stuff. I feel like I'm right there, and yeah, this case will definitely stay with me for a long time. Let's continue. The next clip is called Gabby Petito Autopsy. Coroner confirms human remains are those of 22-year-old woman, and this was posted September 21st, which, let me tell you exactly how many days ago that was. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, like 2 weeks ago, like literally 2 weeks ago. It's like 14 days ago. Alright, let's watch this.
The Petito case, Teton County Coroner Dr. Brent Blue confirmed the remains found are those of Gabby Petito. They just tweeted the initial determination for the manner of death is homicide. The cause of death remains pending final autopsy results. Again, as we've been telling you all throughout the day today, authorities here in our area continue to search for Brian Laundrie, who has been missing for a week now at this point. They were on a cross-country road trip together. They were out in the Wyoming area, in the Teton National Park area. He came back to the Northport area with Gabby's van, but not with Gabby. Her parents reported would not talk to police without a lawyer, and then again, he has been missing for a week at this point. Authorities continue to search a reserve in the Northport area.
for any sign of Brian Laundrie. His parents are not speaking with authorities at this point either. We're going to stay on top of this story throughout the day for you. You can get caught up on this.
All right, well, we're catching up, so let's go ahead and stop that there. Chris Routh said these rarely end well, like the 19-year-old, can't think of her name recently. I know that there was somebody by the name of Maya, because we had a little confusion last night, because I was talking about Maya Miliete and it turned out to be a different Maya, so I don't know if that's the 19-year-old you're talking about. But let me see, 19-year-old missing. And he said that she passed away, and see if I can try to grab a name for her. Yeah, Maya Marcano. I think that's who you're talking about. But honestly, I won't speak on that situation because I haven't researched it yet. So anything you want to tell me, that information would be welcome. But I will look into it, definitely. David Nasivera Jr. says, I'm telling you, look into what dog told Dr. Oz. He found out Brian Laundrie and Dennis Davis had previous ties together. Who's Dennis Davis? I gotta find that out. I've been trying to tell other YouTubers this and they just don't listen. Alright, well first we gotta find out who Dennis Davis is. Dennis Davis. He's not an American drummer and session musician, best known for his work with David Bowie, right? Because, okay, Daily Mail has an article about a Dennis Davis, I believe. Let me see if I can, yeah. Wow. I keep forgetting I have an ad blocker on this browser. Let me try a different browser. But there is a Dennis Davis having to do with the situation. Let's hear him out. Let's see if this leads to anything. The link was another sighting of Brian released a bit ago. Maybe you all seen it. Alright, let's stop sharing this screen and let's move over to this story about Dennis Davis. Oh, wrong. My bad, you guys. Oh yeah, and it has to be a Chrome tab. Okay, so now I'm kind of stuck here. Maybe this will do it. Yay, I figured it out, you guys. Let's see. David says Dennis Davis is a guy that said he saw Brian Laundrie on the Appalachian Trail. Okay, on Saturday morning at 12:30. And over here you were saying it was bogus. He doesn't believe it, and that he found out that Brian Laundrie and Dennis Davis had previous ties together. So what you're saying is, over here when he's saying that he saw him on the Appalachian Trail, you're saying that they're actually friends or something, and he's just trying to like throw people off? Is that what you're saying? Hi, Lisa. Kitty. Alright, well, we'll find out more about that another time, I guess. Let's continue though. Let me stop sharing the screen and go back over here. Yeah, because I need to see the Dr. Oz with dog. I know I showed yesterday some clips from Gabby's dad being on Dr. Oz, but I didn't know that the guy who said that he had seen him on the Appalachian Trail had done an interview with him, so I'll look into it. Alright, next clip is called Ranger Told Gabby Petito to reevaluate her toxic relationship, and that's courtesy of Inside Edition. And this is posted September 21st. It's an ad.
Questions are being asked about the way police handled their questioning of the young couple after they were spotted arguing. On that newly released 911 call, a witness says he clearly saw Brian striking Gabby. But cops on the scene perceived Gabby to be the aggressor. Now a park ranger who was there says she told Gabby to reconsider what she perceived to be a toxic relationship.
The park ranger who was there when Gabby Petito was pulled over warned her that her relationship with Brian Laundrie seemed toxic.
She's got her cell phone. She's calling her parents just to feel better.
Park ranger Melissa Holes says she spoke woman to woman with Gabby in the backseat of a police cruiser on August 12th in Utah. The police report that depicted Gabby as the aggressor because she scratched Brian.
We're driving by and I'd like to report a domestic dispute. The gentleman was slapping the girl.
He was slapping her?
Yes, and then we stopped. They ran up and down the sidewalk. He proceeded to hit her.
We've been fighting all morning.
I was imploring with her to reevaluate the relationship, the park ranger now says. I was asking her if she was happy in the relationship with him, and basically saying this was an opportunity for her to find another path to make a change in her life. But Gabby told the park ranger she wanted to stay with Laundrie.
She doesn't want to not be with him today.
She had a lot of anxiety about being away from him, the park ranger told the Deseret News newspaper. But retired Los Angeles Police Sergeant Cheryl Dorsey says Gabby may not have felt comfortable discussing her relationship with Brian while he was nearby.
All they had to do was separate the two, inconvenience them, if you will, put this young woman in a place where she could speak freely out of his presence about what was going on.
I'm choosing not to cite you today.
Neither Gabby nor Brian was charged, but they were told to spend the night apart to cool down. We thought we were making the right decision when we left them, says Holes. It's hard not to second guess myself and wish I had said more or wish I had found the right words to make her believe that she deserved more. We asked domestic violence expert Mindy Murphy to analyze the traffic stop video.
She's distraught. She's, anxious. She's fearful, and he's calm and collected, which is often what you see in a batterer. A batterer is using power and control, and the victim is left kind of scared, disheveled, uncertain.
We've been fighting all morning.
Today, Gabby Petito's family released a new statement saying they will be speaking out for the first time, quote, when Gabby is home.
Okay, so I was reading the comments while I was watching the video, and Michael Anderson, if you sent a link, we didn't get it because you're not a moderator. So if you want me to look at something, just put like your source, like if it's YouTube or Google, and then maybe in quotations put like the title or any keywords that'll help me like find it. If it's a news source, like Inside Edition, ABC News, that kind of thing, I'll be able to show it. But if it's like another channel's content, I won't be able to show it because I won't know what their policy is on like showing their content. They could completely like copyright strike me and maybe not knock down my channel right away, but like they could definitely like have my video removed or something like that. And I work hard to keep my videos. Danielle Williams said Instagram and Facebook were down earlier today. I noticed that when I turned on my computer, I have all my tabs that automatically open up, and Instagram and Facebook are two of them. And I was going through everything, and then I was like, okay, Instagram's not working, that's weird. And then I got to Facebook, and then that wasn't working either. And I was like, is it the end of the world? What's going on? Why are my social media pages not working? Let me see. Okay. Michael Anderson said YouTube, the hunt for Brian Laundrie on the Appalachian Trail in Virginia. Okay, I'll play the next clip and then I'll look for it. David Nasivara was saying though that Dennis Davis and Brian Laundrie have previous ties together, and he thinks thinks it's bullshit. Dog the bounty hunter found that out, and he doesn't think that it's credible at all. That's crazy. That's really fucked up if that's true, if that's really what's going on, because they're just impeding like justice for Gabby. Like why is he helping him? Like, doesn't it matter that a person lost their whole life over this and you're helping like the suspect? That's crazy to me. Okay, so let's go ahead and delete this clip, and I'm going to look for that other clip that you just told me about. Meanwhile, we're going to watch, did trail camera capture image of Brian Laundrie in Florida Panhandle? OCSO checks out tip, and this courtesy of Fox 10 News, and this was posted September 21st as well. This is an
At
ad.
this hour,
Sorry.
a coroner has just confirmed that Gabby Petito's body was in fact found in Wyoming. That positive ID coming 2 days after the discovery. The manner of death has been ruled a homicide, and also new at this hour for a second time in the last 3 days, law enforcement locally checking out a possible Brian Laundrie sighting. He is wanted as a person of interest in Petito's death. This morning, Okaloosa County investigators searched a wooded area near Baker, Florida. Our Dacian Smith is joining us live from there now. Dacian, this latest possible sighting was caught on camera.
Yes, it was, Lenise. A picture from a trail camera was posted on social media roughly 24 hours ago in what was just the latest possible sighting of Brian Laundrie here along the Gulf Coast. Less than 24 hours after Mobile police spent the day investigating a possible Brian Laundrie sighting in Tillman's Corner, the Okaloosa County Sheriff's Office began investigating a possible sighting of their own. This picture, posted by a Baker resident, shows a man matching Laundrie's description walking in the woods early Monday morning. Sheriff's deputies searched the area early this morning, but were unable to find any evidence that Laundrie was in the area. People we spoke with saying they aren't worried, but the possible sightings are concerning.
My apologies for pausing the clip, but I was just noticing something kind of crazy. Hold on, let me find where we're at here. They just showed a picture of Brian Laundrie wearing this. Okay, so we have that. I did find the video Michael Anderson was talking about, but since it's another content creator's content, I'm not gonna show it, like play the video. But what I can do, what I feel comfortable doing, is just like, sorry, that's wrong, is showing like a screenshot of it, because it really, what we're looking at is one part of the video, and you said that it was where he's standing next to a truck, so I'm guessing this is what you're talking about. Let me know. Yes, thank you, Lisa. Thanks, Jinxie. Instagram Messenger is not working right now. What the fuck is going on? I have no idea. I get to feeling a certain type of way when social media pages start to go down. I start to feel like it's the beginning of like something bad. But okay, but I mean, that does look like him. It's his bald head, and he's got like a beard. In fact, like the shirt that he's wearing, I want to say it looks exactly like the shirt that the news was just showing. Like he might have even been wearing the same shirt. Watch this. Let's go back. I want to see here. That shirt. The way he's standing a few hours, yeah, like that could very well be him. And that says, where did it go? This was posted September 27th. So that was still some time ago. That was a week ago. Alright, so let's continue watching this clip. I'll try to find where we left off. Hopefully I'm not too off. I'll just play here.
The Sheriff's Office says a search focused near Shady Grove Church Road and the nearby farmland. Sheriff deputies searched on foot and deployed drones for several hours before finishing the search around noon. They were unable to find anything to indicate that Laundrie was in the area. The Sheriff's Office says while the active search is over, they will still be on the lookout should there be any more sightings. Residents say they plan to do the same.
But I will definitely keep my eye out for this guy, and if I see it, I'll definitely call my local police department.
People in the area say despite the recent sightings, it will be business as usual for them. But they hope that Laundrie will be brought to justice no matter where he is.
I'm sure that this guy is on the move, so, I mean, I'm sure he's going to be all over the place. He's trying not to get caught.
The Okaloosa County Sheriff's Office says Brian Laundrie has no known ties to the area. They ask that everybody stay vigilant and, of course, report anything suspicious that anyone sees. Live in Baker, Dacian Smith, Fox 10 News.
Alright, so I am looking up the Dog the Bounty Hunter situation and on a different tab, so just give me a moment. I'll just keep playing videos and try to keep up with the chat at the same time. Next video is called Brian Laundrie's Parents' Actions, following Gabby Petito's disappearance, and this is courtesy of 10 Tampa Bay, and this was September 21st. I'm still looking into Dr. Oz.
Search here continues today. The FBI continuing their investigation into the Laundrie home. Our Adore Achumba is there now breaking down that end of this investigation.
As both local and federal law enforcement agencies piece together all the elements involved in this case, there are questions now about how Brian Laundrie's parents have conducted themselves so far and if they will face any consequences. For some insights, we spoke with local criminal defense attorney Lucas Fleming for his take.
They're probably struggling with some allegiances here, maybe not knowing that they themselves may be committing a crime by being an accessory after the fact.
Since news emerged that Gabby Petito was reported missing 10 days ago, Chris and Roberta Laundrie refused to speak with police about what they know, except through a lawyer. That's until their son, too, went missing. They called police, and then later the FBI searched their home.
They probably have a chance to remedy anything they may have done wrong up to this point. I imagine if they fully disclose their involvement with their son at this point, that should be enough perhaps to avoid any kind of prosecution.
What shape, if any, such consequences would take depends on what Brian Laundrie tells investigators, if and when they find him. For now, though, we are staying right here outside the Laundrie home. So far, it's been pretty quiet all day except for the rain. And when the dad drove his red truck out around 3:30 p.m. this afternoon and returned with some milk.
Okay, so I think I found something. Hold on. I hate it when it like reloads like that because
the FBI issuing a new poster.
It starts to play on its own. Alright. I want to say I found this, so I'm not too sure if they're going to talk about what we were just talking about, Michael Anderson, but let's see what happens. It's called Dog the Bounty Hunter Ramps Up Efforts to Find Brian Laundrie, and this was posted today and courtesy of Fox 35 Orlando. As soon as I could get it playing. And there's a Karen. No.
A new lead in the search for Gabby Petito's boyfriend, Brian Laundrie. The search is expanding with the FBI now looking into possible sightings near the Appalachian Trail. That is where a hiker tells Fox News he spoke with a man he is convinced is Brian Laundrie.
I'm absolutely 100% sure that was the guy. My heart was thumping. And I immediately called the FBI back and I said, listen, I just called you guys, but I'm telling you, this was the guy.
Well, Laundrie does remain the only person of interest in the death investigation of his girlfriend, Gabby Petito. Dwayne Dog Chapman, known as Dog the Bounty Hunter, joined the search for Laundrie more than a week ago. Since then, he has followed up on leads, and earlier this week, he led a search on a pair of islands off Fort DeSoto here in Florida. Dr. Oz joins us live now with more because Dr. Oz, first, good morning to you. And I know that you spoke with Dog the Bounty Hunter about his efforts just a few minutes ago. What did he have to say?
Well, first of all, that Appalachian Trail commentary, he doesn't believe. He actually identified that individual as having a prior connection to Brian. Not sure what's going on there. Again, this is Dog's reporting. But the big news for him is he really does think that he is alive. He does believe he may have gone to the Appalachian Trail. It's a more hospitable environment for his training. But he also identified that Brian was looking at a lot of very bizarre material, books, videos, many of them just dark. And he thinks that he probably wasn't the violent person to begin with, but he lost his way, and that's why he believes he murdered Ms. Petito. That stated, he doesn't know why the family's being so resistant to helping. He does admit that 50% of the time parents will not help law enforcement when they believe their son's life is in danger, as definitely Brian's life is now, because there's a death penalty in Wyoming.
So we do know then from what Dog the Bounty Hunter is reporting, he does believe that he is out there somewhere on the Appalachian Trail, not here in the state of Florida?
Well, he could be in Florida, but he says it's a little bizarre. That's not where he would have thought he'd run. Right. The family has also said that they let him, they sort of released him into the Florida wetlands. But again, that's not where Brian's specialty of hiking would have helped him.
They released him into the Florida wetland. I'm sorry, I had to say something about that. Released him like a dog, like Like how you release an animal into the wilderness. That's crazy. Mimel says, fake Fox News. I'm sorry you feel that way, but this is where we're gonna get our information.
The most. So it may have been a diversion attempt to confuse people about where Brian really is. That stated, both leads are being examined aggressively by law enforcement. And again, there are some people who don't want to call law enforcement. And so Dog's got a helpline out there and has been fielding about 3,000 tips now. And there's a big reward that he just announced when we did our interview that you'll hear later today that might also prompt people who run into Brian to share that news.
Oh, can't wait to hear more about that interview with Dog the Bounty Hunter. Dr. Oz, thanks so much for joining us this morning.
Stay well. Take care.
You do the same. And we do want to remind you that you can watch the
You can watch the Dr. Oz show, but we're not gonna promote his stuff here. I know there's a lot of people out there that say like the news is fake and stuff like that. Like I don't know. I don't make the news and I don't like work for the news, so I couldn't tell you like firsthand. But I feel it's important to watch the news and then scrutinize it with our own, lenses and filters that we see the world in. That's why I do this on a live stream, because I want to hear people's opinions, not just give my own. So it's very important that everybody comments and contributes in that way to the live stream. But as far as like the news being fake, I mean, there's different ways to look at it. I mean, like how fake? Like, are you saying that like the Gabby Petito story is fake because the news is reporting it? So like, are you saying that like that's fake? Like, I don't know how far into it you think the fakeness goes, but that could be a conversation for another day. Maybe it could be a topic for my other channel. I do have another channel called MissRaeMoody Talks. Let me just grab that link. I wanted to make sure people are subscribing to my other channel as well, because sometimes I do go live over there just to have open panels and chats and things like that. So I'll go ahead and drop the link there. Riff Raff Rabble says, I want to believe he is still in the country, but I am doubtful at this point. And it could be anything, because they say that his parents have had money. If Pepperoni says, if you know where the real news is, please let us know. If you know Brian Laundrie and are keeping up with him and know where he's at, that would be like the realest. Hello, butterflies. How cute. Are there butterflies here? I'm not too sure if I saw. Oh, sorry. Chris Roth says, but it's been reported he spent months in Appalachia. How is that not his strong suit? Sounds like he could probably be there. Laughs. Local Fox is more reliable than cable Fox. It all really comes from the same place. Have you all seen that YouTube video that went viral, and it had like all these different news stations from around the country saying like the exact same like keywords and phrases? So I mean, to me, like, it all comes from the same place, really. Link is virus. Oh, my link is a virus? My other channel? Oh, are you a hater? Go ahead and let me know now, because if you're just gonna be annoying, I could just go ahead and block you. Or somebody else will do it once you get annoying enough. Let's continue. Next clip is called Brian Laundrie's Parents, Actions Questioned Following Gabby Petito's Disappearance, and this was posted September 21st, courtesy of 10 Tampa Bay.
And as the search here continues today, the FBI continuing their investigation into the Laundrie home. Our Adore Achumba is there now breaking down that end of this investigation.
As both local and federal law enforcement agencies piece together all the elements involved in this case, there are questions now about how Brian Laundrie's parents have conducted themselves so far and if they will face any consequences. For some insight, we spoke with local criminal defense attorney Lucas Fleming for his take.
They're probably struggling with some allegiances here, maybe not knowing that they themselves may be committing a crime by being an accessory after the fact.
Since news emerged that Gabby Petito was reported missing 10 days ago, Chris and Roberta Laundrie refused to speak with police about what they know, except through a lawyer. That's until their son, too, went missing. They called police, and then later the FBI searched their home.
They probably have a chance to remedy anything they may have done wrong up to this point. I imagine if they fully disclose their involvement with their son at this point, that That should be.
Really? Okay. Sorry, I got distracted, I guess. This is the troll pressure. It's real. Alright, next clip is called Updated Gabby Petito Investigation Timeline After Death Ruled a Homicide. And this is posted September 21st in cursive WFLA News Channel 8.
Seeking information, it shows a photo of Gabby, the white van, and a map of the area where her remains were found. News Channel 8's Justin Shecker continues our team coverage tonight. He's live in the Tampa News Center. And you have the timeline, all of this. It really is compressed. A lot has happened over the past week or so.
It definitely moved quickly these past 10 days, Keith. On September 11th, Keith, Gabby's concerned mother told Suffolk County Police in New York that her daughter was nowhere to be found. In just the past 10 days, this case shifted from the search for a missing person to a homicide investigation. I spoke with Gabby's father 1 week ago.
I'm not naive to the facts. I know how some of these stories end, and I understand that.
How 22-year-old Gabby Petito died is still under investigation pending final autopsy results. The FBI announced Tuesday the coroner ruled her death a homicide. A day earlier, agents executed a search warrant on the Laundrie family home in Northport. Also on Monday,
We're driving by and I'd like to report a domestic dispute.
police released this 911 call reporting a fight between Petito and her fiancé Brian Laundrie on August 12th in Moab, Utah.
We drove by and the gentleman was slapping the girl.
On Sunday, authorities recovered human remains resembling Petito in the Spread Creek dispersed camping area in Wyoming's Teton Mountain Range.
I would like to extend sincere and heartfelt condolences to Gabby's family.
By Saturday, the search began in the Southwest Florida swampland after the Laundrie parents reported their son missing Friday night. Last Thursday, a passionate plea from Gabby's father, Joseph Petito.
I'm asking for help from everyone here. I'm asking for help everyone at home. I'm asking for help from the parents of Brian.
Police named Brian Laundrie a person of interest on Wednesday, September 15th. During the first few days of the search, Mr. Petito told 8 on Your Side he was holding on to hope his daughter would be found safe.
Phone's dead, broke, lost, taken, whatever. She's wandering the woods. She can't find her bearings. Happens all the time. And that's what I'm going with until I'm told otherwise.
And Northport police recovered the white van from the road trip the same night Gabby's mom filed that missing person report. Tonight, the FBI is still seeking help from people who are in that remote Wyoming camping area. May have seen Petito, Laundrie, or the van between August 27th and the 30th. Live in the Tampa News Center, I'm Justin.
David, I don't know if maybe you had left the building, but I had shown a video just now of Dr. Oz talking to the lady. That's when we started getting into it about fake news, because it was like from Fox or whatever. And he said that he had spoken to Dog, the bounty hunter, and he had told him that that sighting was not credible or whatever. I don't know if maybe you missed it. If you want, I can play it again. Next clip is called Gabby Petito's Case. Surveillance camera shows man who appears to be Brian Laundrie, but I think people in the chat are saying that this was not actually Brian Laundrie. Is that correct?
Now. And developing tonight, an autopsy now confirms the human remains found over the weekend are that of 22-year-old Gabby Petito. A makeshift cross made out of stones now sits at the site where the grim discovery was made in Wyoming. And miles away here in Florida, the FBI is on an all-out manhunt for her fiancé, Brian Laundrie.
Authorities are once again searching the swampland in the hopes of finding him to figure out what happened to Gabby. Louis in the newsroom with the latest on the case gripping the nation.
Nicole and Calvin, the medical examiner, has ruled her death a homicide, but the exact cause is still pending a final autopsy. Meantime, authorities are studying a new image captured on a wildlife trail camera that could be Brian Laundrie.
Investigators poring over alligator and snake-infested marshland, renewing the manhunt for Gabby Petito's boyfriend, Brian Laundrie, on the same day her remains were officially identified. Drones flying overhead as ATVs and canine units weave through that 25,000-acre nature reserve where Laundrie's family told officials he may be.
Terrain's very difficult. Essentially, 75% of it's underwater.
And 500 miles away, an Okaloosa County trail camera capturing this image Monday morning. The sheriff not ruling out it could be Laundrie, but so far, they've searched the area and found nothing.
I love the van.
Authorities now facing growing scrutiny over how the sole person of interest in Gabby's disappearance was able to vanish himself.
From the beginning, this has been a tragedy of errors. You didn't have to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars to search through the swamp. Where were the cops? They should have surveilled it.
Also under fire, the officers in Utah who responded to a fight between the couple during their road trip last month. The police report says Gabby tried to slap Brian. He pushed her away, then she scratched him in the face, the officers separating them.
What was it you were attempting to accomplish by slapping?
I was trying to get him to stop telling me something.
But the witness who called 911 said Brian was the aggressor.
We drove by and the gentleman was slapping the girl.
He was slapping her?
Yes.
The attorney for the Petito family says they will have a statement, quote, when Gabby is home. Investigators remind anyone who may know anything about this case or Brian's whereabouts to reach out to 1-800.
All right, let's continue. Next clip is called "Woman Says She Picked Up Gabby Petito's Fiance Hitchhiking." And I want to say that this is the TikTok lady. If it is, we might just skip through it because we did cover that yesterday. So let me just go through the video real quick and see if it's her. I thought I had done a better job of editing my playlist, but some stuff is repetitive information and I'm trying to like cut that down because we do have some videos that are a little lengthier in time. But let me see if it's that chick from... Okay, it looks like the report. Yeah, it is. Alright, we can skip that. We already talked about that yesterday. Alright, next video is called "Best Friend Describes Gabby Petito's Fiance as Charismatic but Manipulative." And this is courtesy of News 12 and posted September 22nd.
A News 12 at 10 exclusive. The best friend of Blue Point's Gabby Petito opening up about Gabby's relationship prior to her disappearance. News 12's Virginia Huey has the story.
Scroll through Gabby Petito's Instagram page and watch her YouTube channel. You'll see a sea of smiling faces, selfies in the sunshine, and kisses against idyllic landscapes.
Gabby Petito never goes outside.
The Blue Point native portrayed a carefree life of travels with her boyfriend Brian Laundrie as they journeyed across the U.S. in her cherished van. The life that 22-year-old Petito showcases on social media, however, might be a stark contrast to the experiences she had before vanishing without a trace in late August.
This whole thing is just so heartbreaking.
Rose Davis is Petito's best friend. Speaking with me from her home in Sarasota, Florida, Davis says she witnessed a different side of the couple's relationship when the cameras weren't rolling. Davis says Laundrie was the jealous and manipulative one in the relationship.
A little bit of like the controlling I noticed of getting what he wants, like that's a red flag. That's a toxic trait. But you know, you can see the jealousy side, and you know, he also wanted what he wanted when he wanted it. And he'd find a way to get it, and not in a, you know, a violent manner, but you know, if he didn't want Gabby to do something, he'd find a way to make it so she couldn't do it.
Davis met Petito 2 years ago when Petito moved from Blue.
Sorry, but I kind of wish she would have been a little bit more specific. Like now would have been a good time for like examples, because the way she's talking, like she could really mean anything. Like, I don't know, like, kind of when she said that he would make her breakfast every day, I was just kind of like, what's wrong with that? Like, let's not try to make it seem, you know, oh man, Rose, I hear she's getting trolled hard, really? Yeah, yeah, maybe I should say less. I don't want to be a troll. I don't want to be a Rose troll. But I'm just saying, like, I kind of wish she would have been a little bit more specific, just so we could get a better, like, clearer picture of what was going on, since, you know, domestic violence was brought up in the case. I'm wondering, like, how far back it all went, but I don't know, we'll see.
Point to live in Northport, Florida with Laundrie and his family. The young women connected on Bumble BFF and quickly became besties. They shared good times dancing in TikTok videos, taking selfies in the car, and making trips to their favorite ice cream shop.
She's very easygoing, and she's just this bright light that shines on everyone.
When Davis saw the Utah police body cam video showing her easygoing best friend crying uncontrollably, Davis says she was upset but not surprised.
They have had similar fights.
The couple was pulled over in Moab, Utah on August 12th while they were having an emotional fight.
We've been fighting all morning, and he wouldn't let me in the car before.
It has to take a lot for her to get that hysterical. It does. It has to take a lot for it to come to that because, as I said, very easygoing and loving always.
Petito was reported missing by her family a month later. Laundrie, who police named a person of interest in Petito's disappearance, has refused to talk to cops. On Friday, Laundrie's family reported that he too is missing.
It's all just so crazy and surreal.
Virginia Huey, News 12.
All right, let's continue on. Next clip is Who is Daniel Robinson? Gabby Petito case brings social media spotlight on other missing persons, and this was posted September 22nd and courtesy of ABC 11.
Dominated news headlines and mobilized a legion of social media users. Hashtag Find Gabby Petito gaining over 700 million views on TikTok.
I'm hoping this can help someone identify him.
Many of them now internet sleuths, exchanging theories as well as sharing info about possible sightings and clues.
Psychologically, people just felt very close to her because of social media.
But here's the despairing truth. Gabby Petito is one of so many reported missing each year. At the end of 2020, the FBI had over 89,000 active missing persons cases. 45% of those cases, people of color. Petito's story has renewed debate about which cases get attention and the media's seeming infatuation with missing white women. But her case also sparked a call to action to bring others home, like Daniel Robinson, a 24-year-old geologist who went missing in the desert outside Buckeye, Arizona in late June. His Jeep was found mangled July 19th, about 4 miles from where he was last seen. The Buckeye Police Department says in a statement, investigators are utilizing every resource possible to locate him, including assistance from partner agencies and information provided by the public. His family has also organized searches in the desert heat.
I thank God for all the volunteers who left their houses every morning, in the mornings and spend out time out there in the desert.
There's also Maya Miliete and Jelani Day. Miliete, a mother of 3, has been missing for over 9 months. The 39-year-old was last seen at her family home in Chula Vista, California. Day,
I cover her story on this channel.
25-year-old graduate student at Illinois State University, was last seen August 24th in Bloomington, Illinois. His car was discovered 2 days later, but no signs of Day.
Jelani is, he's a sweetheart. I shouldn't have to beg. I shouldn't have to plead. I shouldn't have to feel that there is a racial disparity. I shouldn't have to feel any of that. I want these people that have these resources to realize this could happen to them.
That's sad. I'm gonna actually save that so that way I can look up the other cases that were mentioned, because I don't cover them all. I know I cover Maya Miliete, and I don't know, I put no judgment Day. Chris Routh, I meant just no judgment. Adults can do what they want as long as they're not victimizing anybody, but I can see how like social media would blow that out of proportion. Alright, next clip is called Gabby Petito Homicide Timeline of Disappearance and Death, live now from Fox, and this was posted September 22nd. Yeah. This is where the ads were supposed to be, but since I have an ad blocker, for some reason it's just still like tries to load them, or I don't know what happens.
We are also continuing to closely monitor the situation involving the case of Gabby Petito and her fiance Brian Laundrie, now not seen or heard from for more than a week. He was last seen or heard from last Tuesday, allegedly from his parents. Now, I do want to walk you through a timeline of what we've seen so far, because these are some aerials. We've got a search continuing at the Wilderness Reserve where his his parents last claim that he was going before they never saw or heard from him after that. So we saw the police, the Northport police, kind of go into his home on Friday. This is some footage from last Friday when Northport police went into the home. They came out with some articles of clothing, some objects, and we later found out that this was so they could give their canines a scent in order to conduct the search at the Carlton Reserve in Venice, Florida on Saturday. And here's some ground footage of that search that was first started Saturday. It continued into Sunday, and on Sunday night, that's when we heard from the FBI saying that they had found remains believed to have matched the description of Gabby Petito, and unfortunately we did get an update from them yesterday confirming that the body was indeed hers. The manner of death ruled initially a homicide. So we've been joined by forensic experts all morning long, kind of weighing in on the information that we got yesterday and what we can continue to get as the situation develops. But again, this is from the reserve on Saturday. We've still got those efforts underway right now. We do have our Fox 13 Tampa chopper expected to head back there soon. They did have to go and refuel. So again, this is over the weekend. Now, after the FBI announced that they had found remains to match the description of Gabby Petito on Monday, we then saw this situation unfold at the Laundrie family home in the morning there. It was breaking news that we brought to you here on Live Now from Fox. They officially executed a search warrant. They removed Brian Laundrie's parents from the home for a bit, brought them into this black van, and then they proceeded to go to their own vehicles, bring in a bunch of resources to go and collect evidence, and they officially declared the house a crime scene. So again, Brian Laundrie's parents not arrested, and it's important to mention that as of right now, he's not seen, he's not heard from, he's been missing since last Tuesday, and he still remains a person of interest in this case. So again, these are some aerials from earlier. The search resuming today at the Wilderness Reserve where his parents last claimed that he was going. Yesterday, they did search this reserve as well. No new developments out of that search yesterday. And then again, yesterday, we did hear from the FBI Denver Bureau again, officially confirming that the body found in Wyoming belonged to Gabby Petito. So a very unfortunate turn of events in this situation. Again, we are going to bring you any and every development when it comes to this case unfolding. Even just to take a look at this timeline here, I do want to show you this picture because time has just been such of the essence. You had August 25th, they were in Grand Teton National Park. That was Gabby's last call to her family. But step back a couple weeks before that, August 12th, that was when we got that 911 call released Monday and the body cam footage released last week when somebody called in an alleged domestic altercation between the two. The 911 call, the person making the call saying that he allegedly saw Brian Laundrie slapping Petito, and that's when we also saw that body cam footage of the Moab, Utah police kind of rolling up on the couple and questioning them both individually. So then you go to August 25th. That's Gabby's last call to her family. That's the last time her father, her stepfather, as well as her mother and brother heard from her as well. Then August 30th, they did claim that they got a suspicious text from Gabby's phone. They didn't believe that it was Gabby, so we don't really have a whole lot of information on that text. Again, it's still a very ongoing investigation. Then in September, Laundrie arrives at his home in Florida 2 weeks after the family last heard from Gabby Petito. She was officially confirmed missing and reported missing on September 11th. And then unfortunately yesterday it was declared that the body found in Wyoming near Grand Teton National Park was hers. So a very tragic situation, and we again are following each and every development.
Sorry. I thought that video was going to be longer.
Fox is live above the car.
I'm actually looking for the tweet that y'all are talking about in the chat. I was able to find or be able to answer the question about the last confirmed sighting. I'll go ahead and let you all know. Deputies confirm reports of Brian Laundrie sightings in North Carolina, and that was as of 4 hours ago. So they're saying, and they're also saying alleged sightings from North Carolina to Canada. So that's that. And then somebody said, yeah, we're gonna look for it. They have posting videos soon. It was Richard the Protesters on Twitter. So I'll look for that, but let me play the next video. That's going to be Brian Laundrie missing. Divers join search at Florida Park, and courtesy of Fox 13 Tampa Bay. Posted September 22nd. I'm still looking for that tweet though.
Fox is
Donna Prophet, if you're still here, is Richard the Protester, is that the name of the account on Twitter? Because all I'm able to find right now is someone named Richard Chumney, and then there's Richard Marks, and that's...
We're continuing to follow the search for Brian.
I hate that. Like, I tell it to pause, and it just go ahead and plays the video. Alright, so let's go ahead and play it then. That's gonna be... Brian Laundrie search what led police to Carlton Reserve, and this was posted September 22nd, courtesy of Fox 13 Tampa Bay.
In Laundrie, it's been over a week since anyone has heard from him. Just yesterday, the investigation into his fiancée, Gabby Petito, went from a missing persons case to a homicide. And now search crews are focusing their attention on this nature reserve in Venice. And that's where Fox 13's Kimberly Quizan joins us live. So, Kim, you've been following this story since day one. Walk us through what led investigators to the Carlton Reserve in the first place.
Hi, Linda. Well, what led investigators to the Carlton Reserve was Brian Laundrie's parents. Now, keep in mind, on Friday night, when they reported him, quote, missing, they told investigators that this was the area that Brian was coming to on Tuesday. They said that they saw him walk out of their house with a backpack, supposedly jump into that Mustang, and go to the Myakkahatchee entrance, which goes into the Carlton Reserve. So they're basing this search on tips from the parents at this point in time.
So that silver Mustang that was towed away from the Laundrie home on Monday, do we know why? Looking for clues, obviously, right?
Obviously, that's a good answer right there, but that was also towed away as that FBI agents went up to their house executing the search warrant. Now, the Mustang was towed away as evidence was also taken out. Talking with investigators, they're going to be...
If you're not a moderator, it won't let you post a link, unfortunately. But if you can maybe put like how I could search it on Google or something like that so I could find it on my own, or we'll figure some kind of way to play it.
Looking at that Mustang, combing it over just as they are this reserve, looking for any evidence that may tell them where Brian went past when he left his house.
Well, law enforcement has been searching this reserve for several days now, but this is the first time, I believe, that they've brought in a dive team. So do we know why they're taking this additional step?
Yeah, Linda, well, this is the first time that we have seen that dive team go into the reserve. And we know that they have gone in there because the investigators say that they have searched a number of areas on land. They said that they're starting to exhaust their land search, and they're going to look into the water to see if it contains any clues of Brian or Brian's belongings. That could also include the backpack if it ended up in there, or anything that belonged in that backpack. But investigators are now honing in on that, just saying that they've been looking all over the land. They haven't been able to find anything at this point, but they continue to bring resources in here. Just a few minutes ago, we saw a Verizon signal truck coming in to help boost the signal of investigators that are back out there. So there's something in here that's continuing their search at this point in time.
All right. And when is the next time that we could get an update from either the Northport Police or the FBI?
Well, we have been hearing from the Northport Police Department. They have been answering our questions, but they haven't been holding any press conferences at this point in time. And they tell us that the next time that we will hear from them is when there's a significant development, either when Brian is found or something is found here in the reserve, or if they get any credible tips where Brian could be located.
Like video, perhaps, the media could share. So we'll wait and see. Kimberly Quizan reporting live for us. You're doing a great job out there. Thank you. Well, remember, for updates on the case, just head over to fox13news.com. Our coverage.
All right, we'll stop that there. Let's look at this. Donna, if you're still here, let me know. Let's see where we at. And poor Brian. Why? Riff Raff Rabble says, I don't believe he is at the reserve, but we don't know what the FBI knows. I think the neighbors saw him after the camping trip. I think I remember hearing that. Michael Anderson says, same, I do not believe he is either. No proof and all that search unless they know something they're not sharing. Chris Ralph says, I gotta say I live in the South and I want one of those buggies. Okay. Patricia Jackson says, my oldest sister broke 3 toes. Oh my gosh. I hope she's okay. Well, she's gonna be okay. I know she's gonna be okay. That sounds pretty brutal. Where am I? Okay. Ridiculous Lee says, the way social media is on a roll, I don't think they'll be sharing much info, if at all. That sounds right. Twitter, Joe Anthony, Lee Riches. Okay. Thank you. Ellen Crooks, Brian Laundrie disappeared on September 14th. There have been no confirmed sightings of him since, despite calls coming in from across the country. So anything could be happening right now. I'm sure they know a lot of things they aren't sharing. Alright, let's play the next video while I look for that Twitter. This is called You Could Feel Brian Laundrie's Temper, New Witnesses, and is courtesy of Inside Edition. Posted September 22nd.
New witnesses have come forward to say they believe they're among the last people to see Gabby Petito alive. This couple says they saw Gabby and Brian Laundrie fighting with waitresses at a Mexican restaurant. They claim Brian showed an explosive temper while Gabby was in tears. Stephen Fabian has more.
New witnesses have come forward describing a fight involving Brian Laundrie shortly before police believe his fiancée, Gabby Petito, was killed.
We just had a front row view to the whole thing. And
she was
visibly upset. She was crying.
Nina Angelo and her boyfriend Matt England say they saw Brian Laundrie having an argument with the staff in this Mexican restaurant in Jackson, Wyoming. The couple says the incident happened on August 27th. 2 weeks after that other, now notorious fight, which led police in Utah to separate Gabby and Brian Laundrie. How would you describe his anger level?
I said, this guy is creeping me out. I remember those were my exact words because his temper, you could feel it.
Meanwhile, the search of a vast Florida swamp for Gabby's fiance continued today. It's 10 days since 23-year-old Brian Laundrie disappeared in the hazardous Carlton Reserve. Police divers are also joining the search, along with cadaver dogs. Could he still be alive? I spoke to wilderness expert Brooke Wright. How difficult is it for an average person to survive in these woods?
This is such an unrelenting environment, and any number of things here want to hurt you. It's wet. There's venomous snakes, there's alligators, spiders. Everything out here is incredibly difficult to deal with.
She showed me how he could survive for weeks by eating insects.
You've got worms. Worms are also a good source of...
You could eat that?
You could eat that. There's a variety of things that live in here that are suitable to eat.
Another possibility, Laundrie is long gone. This is I-75, which cuts right through the nature reserve where investigators have been searching for Brian Laundrie for the past few days. Now, this interstate runs from here in Florida all the way north to Canada. So if you take a ride on this road for just a few days, you can get pretty much anywhere. John Walsh, host of Investigation Discoveries In Pursuit, is featuring the case on his show. He has Brian Laundrie squarely in his sights and doubts he was ever in the swamp.
The last day, we got 10 very solid tips on the In Pursuit hotline, and we turned those over to the U.S. Marshals and the FBI. So tonight, I'm hoping the world will be a lot smaller place for Brian Laundrie.
Reported sightings have been called into cops from across Florida.
Callers advising that a civilian possibly sees Brian Laundrie.
And police have identified the man in this photo taken by a game cam 500 miles from the search site. Turns out it's not Laundrie. Northport police and the FBI continue taking heat for.
That's crazy, because they were even saying that backpack was exactly like the one Brian Laundrie had.
For letting Laundrie slip through their fingers.
I asked one question to the FBI and the Northport police. How the hell did that guy get out of the house right in front of your eyes?
This weekend, new witnesses have come.
Thank you. Sorry. Oh, I hate when I do that. All right, so what I was saying is I was looking at the chat and I noticed that we were talking about when the neighbors saw Brian last. So we're gonna play this video and then we're gonna get into the Twitter account. I think I found it, but this is called Laundrie Neighbor Says She Saw Brian After His Return, and it's courtesy of Eyewitness News, ABC 7 New York. That's literally what I said. So you didn't miss anything.
Yeah, I saw him. They went for a walk in the neighborhood. That was about all I saw.
Okay, so you saw him. Okay, September. I'm sure you don't remember the day, right?
I want to say it was Thursday or Friday before we knew Gabby was missing.
Okay, great. So what did you see?
They, as a family, the mom, dad, and him came out to take a stroll in the neighborhood. It was really all.
You didn't think anything of it?
No, not at all.
Looked like a normal interaction.
Yeah, we'd seen them do that before, so it never seemed strange to us that they would go for a walk through the neighborhood. So.
And then Gabby, over the last 2 years, you used to see her all the time?
They actually hadn't been in the house for the last 2 years, the whole family. They didn't actually, there was somebody renting the house. And so, but once they moved in, we did see her occasionally. Not very often. We saw Brian more so as they were working on the van, but we didn't see her terribly often, every now and then.
So you saw him working on the van. What was he doing?
Woodwork, putting up paneling or making a bench. It looked like some sort in the van. We didn't know that they were converting the van. We just knew that they were working on it. So.
And when you saw him come back, your initial reaction was he's back from his trip.
Yeah, because I mean at that point I didn't know I didn't know that she formerly lived here. I thought maybe she was visiting. So, because we just, they hadn't been here very long. So I didn't know she was just a girlfriend visiting and that sort of thing.
What's your reaction to all this now? You guys have been front row seat to this thing. How are you feeling?
It's very surreal. Very surreal in the sense that you just never expect to see or know somebody in your neighborhood that was either with somebody and had something terrible happen, or could have been, much less actually the perpetrator of something terrible happening to somebody.
And the Laundries, how well do you know them, the parents?
Not very well, just to say hi on the street and that sort of deal. So it was usually about the extent of it.
Do you feel, look, you're a taxpayer of Florida, you're a taxpayer of the United States. There's a lot going on right now looking for him. Do you kind of wish that the parents were talking a little bit more or not? Do you think?
If they have knowledge, yes, I would love to say, please share more information. If they don't have knowledge, then, there's only so much they can do as too. I think yes, it's crazy that they're going through this just for one person, but I really hope it's a fruitful search. That, if nothing else, at least it provides answers to what the heck happened.
All right, so am I muted? No. Okay. So I started noticing news clips being released about the Gabby situation on September 16th. That was the date that like news coverage started like posting it. She said it was what, the Thursday before that? Let me see if I can get this right.
And him came out to take a stroll in the neighborhood. That was really all.
Yeah, that was such a weird question. I think she was trying to get her to be like, well, they're using taxpayer money on all of this, you know, all these services and stuff to find them when the parents can just talk. Like, that was not a good look for the news reporter. That wasn't a good question, I think, to ask. Like putting like taxpayer money into it. Like, you know, we're trying to get answers. Whatever it takes, it's gonna be worth it. That's the answer to that.
Say it was Thursday or Friday.
She said Thursday or Friday. So, whoops, where's my calendar? So September 16th is when like the news was starting to pop off about it. So Thursday or Friday was going to be September 9th or 10th. Thursday being the 9th, Friday being the 10th. So that's her sighting. All right. Now let's go over to the Twitter account that we found. Something about protests happening in front of the house. Let me see. So that's this. Let me like reload it. So it's this guy, Jonathan Lee Riches. And I did notice that 30 minutes ago he posted this. Let me expand it. But it says Cassie Laundrie and her husband came outside from their home to speak to us for almost 20 minutes. Full video coming out soon. Protesting works. Justice for Gabby Petito. And then that's gonna be the picture. Look at her back there. Like, what do y'all think about this expression on her face? Let's look at the other picture. And so that's them outside their house talking to protesters. But when I went to this link, it went to his website. So I guess he hasn't posted like the video yet. So we'll leave that there so we could like refresh it later on and check it out. See if he posts anything later on. Okay, I don't know, I have two of those. Hopefully that's correct. Okay. Black Kona says, I saw Brian Laundrie at Mom's Spaghetti in Detroit. Really? Michael Anderson, M&M's restaurant? Okay. Let's continue. Next clip is called Inside the Hunt for Brian Laundrie. And this is courtesy of NBC New York.
We start this afternoon with those new
posted September 22nd.
Developments in the search for Brian Laundrie. That's the person of interest in the Gabby Petito case. I'm Natalie Pascarella.
And I'm David Ushery. Police used a new approach today to search that sprawling nature preserve. They called in divers. The water they're searching said to be filled with snakes and alligators. So far, nothing has been found.
And Dave, not far from where that search is happening, you see a growing memorial there for Gabby Petito. The town even put up signs declaring that area a memorial. News 4's Paisy Chang joining us live from Venice, Florida with the latest on this case. Paisy.
And Natalie and David, that's the first I've seen that, where the town actually makes up signs to designate a place for a memorial for a victim. Now, back here in Venice, where the search is going on, you know, this is a huge area we're talking about, 25,000 acres. That is much larger than something, let's say, the size of Manhattan. And so police have been in here for several days now. Today, like you said, they brought in dive teams to look at ponds, not just ponds, but the pools of water that have developed here because of all the rainfall they've gotten. Anything to look for signs of Brian. Police back in Carlton Reserve resuming their search for Brian Laundrie, the 23-year-old wanted for questioning in his fiance's death. Federal, state, and local police have searched this vast nature preserve for days after Laundrie's family said he went hiking last Tuesday and never returned home. Dive teams went into the water to search large ponds, but police were quick to say the move was part of the overall search, nothing specific. To get a sense of what the search looks like inside the nature preserve, we went out with Trey Ward to a nearby marsh with almost identical conditions. What are the odds Brian has been able to survive in this preserve for more than a week?
Very slim.
The preserve is 75% underwater this time of year. There are plenty of snakes, panthers, and alligators. We saw a few small ones on our ride.
Nobody's living in this. Nobody's hiding out in this. But something has to tell them, hey, we need to try it one more time.
And all-terrain vehicles like this are really necessary for navigating the preserve. We've been driving around for quite some time. We're either encountering mud or sometimes water that could be 3 to 6 feet deep. While the search continues for Brian, back at Northport City Hall, a memorial for Gabby continues to grow. Mourners bringing flowers, candles, teddy bears, like New Jersey natives James and Sandra Smith, who moved here a few years ago.
It's just heartbreaking. I feel so bad for the family, and this was the only thing that we could do to kind of show that we support them and we care about them and we're hurting for them.
Gabby and Brian were on a cross-country trip documented on social media. Brian returned to Florida early September without Gabby. Her body was discovered in a Wyoming campground. The medical examiner ruling her death homicide.
She turns up deceased, and now he's on the run. So it's terrible, but that's why I believe a lot of people are, following this closely.
Now in Wyoming, we are waiting for the coroner to tell us the manner in which Gabby died. We know it's homicide, but we want to know how she died, and that's when they can release the body to the family, who will then bring her home. We are live from Venice, Florida tonight. Paisley Cheng, News 4, New York.
Paisley, thank you for...
All right, let's continue. So I went ahead and dropped the link in the chat for the Twitter account that we just found. For any of y'all that want to check it out, look into it for yourselves. If you happen to notice that they uploaded the video that he was talking about, let me know and we'll play it. Next clip is called Search for Gabby Petito's Fiance Brian Laundrie Intensifies, and this is courtesy of CBS News.
Authorities are
posted September 22nd.
Continuing their search for the fiancé of 22-year-old Gabby Petito. Teams are looking for Brian Laundrie in a swamp preserve near his parents' home in Northport, Florida. Petito's remains were found at Grand Teton National Park in Wyoming last Sunday. Drika Duncan has the latest.
Today, veteran dive teams were called in to search underwater on the 24,000-acre reserve. They're using sonar equipment and boats, in addition to helicopters and drones. Still, no sign of 23-year-old Brian Laundrie, who hasn't been seen since the 14th, according to his parents, and is a person of interest in the death of Gabby Petito. A newly released witness statement from the day police pulled the couple over details the argument that led to this body cam footage. The witness says the two were fighting over Petito's phone. Laundrie was trying to keep her out of the van. In Wyoming, the coroner's office says final autopsy results for Petito will take another 2 to 3 weeks. Signs that Petito will not be forgotten include this memorial in Florida and ribbons tied around trees in her New York hometown. The FBI credited the online community for sharing valuable information and images to help lead authorities to the 22-year-old. But Petito's disappearance and subsequent death have raised questions about other missing persons cases, nearly 90,000 nationwide.
First and foremost, my heart goes out to her family.
Derica Wilson is with the Black and Missing Foundation.
But, at the same time, there are Gabby Petitos and the Black and Brown community, and these families are desperate just to get their cases heard. Missing persons isn't a Black issue. It's not a white issue. It is an American issue, and we all have to come together to bring these missing people home.
Lana, the Laundries appear to be holed up in their Northport home. There hasn't been a lot of activity there today. As for Petito's family, they are gathered on Long Island, where she is from. And on Friday, community members are expected to light candles from their homes in honor of Gabby Petito. Lana?
Very important points, Drika. Thank you. To understand the legal side, I want to bring in Alfredo Garcia. He is a former assistant state attorney in Florida and a professor at St. Thomas University College of Law. Thank you for being here. As a former prosecutor, what do you make of this case?
It's a very tragic case.
disappearance of a young lady who was 22 years old. Tragic, and the manner in which it occurred, long period of her missing is truly sad. And so I think my heart goes out to the victims' families, because this has to be heart-wrenching for them. Unfortunately, when you prosecute cases and or you defend cases, the human element is paramount, and it is really a tragic case when you have a young lady's life taken away from her at such a young age.
Can you explain how this case will proceed if and when Brian Laundrie is found, and what potential charges he might face?
Well, at this point in time, obviously, I assume the autopsy is not complete yet, so they have to determine the cause of her death. Obviously, the coroner has made the preliminary finding that it was a homicide. Of course, it's a little bit more complicated to determine exactly the cause of death, and that would largely determine the charges in this case once they link a suspect to the death, which means that, of course, that the most severe homicide is murder in the first degree, which requires premeditation and deliberation on the part of the offender. That is to say, he or she premeditated and deliberated upon the killing. And I surmise that that's why it's taken a while for the release of the homicide the coroner's finding on the cause of death.
Certainly, there are significant implications based off of those findings. Federal agents executed a search warrant on Laundrie's parents' home on Monday, where he lives. What type of evidence would the FBI be looking for?
Any evidence that would uncover a link to her death, whether that would be documents, whether that would be any other type of physical evidence that would help them link a suspect to the crime and give them probable cause to arrest that suspect for the homicide.
Are there any conditions under which Brian Laundrie's parents might be held criminally responsible?
Since they live in Florida, the charge in Florida that could be leveled against them would be as accessories after the fact. And that is a very hard charge to prove, because you have to establish that they knew that he committed the crime and that they intentionally helped him escape arrest, apprehension, ultimately a trial and or conviction. So you have to have knowledge of that the crime was committed and intention to assist the person who committed the crime in avoiding apprehension. So,
and of course, we don't know if that's the case. We don't know if that's the case, but there isn't the type of spousal privilege that that exists for parents. Is that right?
Well, it's very interesting. The statute in Florida actually does provide immunity if the underlying crime that the offender committed is only a third-degree felony. However, that does not exist if you have a more serious offense, which would be the case here if they linked Brian to the crime. That is to say, if indeed it was homicide, then they wouldn't get the privilege provided in the statute for a parent and or someone who has consanguinity who assists the offender in evading apprehension.
All right, Alfredo Garcia, thank you.
You're quite welcome.
So let's continue. We still don't know the results of the full autopsy. All we know that it's homicide. Let's continue. This next clip is called Gabby Petito's Domestic Violence Signal for Help, and this was courtesy of Fox 10 News. And this was posted September 22nd.
Continue analyzing Gabby Petito and Brian Laundrie's final encounters laid out on social media and in police body cam video. We're letting a local domestic violence expert weigh in. And as Tony Ann Torrens tells us, this is just one devastating example of violence that happens everywhere, every day.
With her being so visible with social media and all, that it brings domestic violence to the front of a lot of conversations.
Penelope House Executive Director Tony Ann Torrens believes Gabby Petito's disappearance and now homicide case has gained national attention because of the trail of social media Petito and fiance Brian Laundrie left for their followers. But she says the alleged domestic violence between the couple happens daily.
Domestic violence definitely knows no boundaries, and it can happen to anybody, any race, any culture, any socioeconomic status, any level of education.
This body camera video from Utah police has been viewed millions of times. Police pulled the couple over after a 911 call that Laundrie hit Petito. When police spoke to the couple separately, they noticed scratch marks on Laundrie. Torrens says police have a very tough job to do in these situations.
Law enforcement does have a difficult job determining who is the primary aggressor. You know, was the victim acting in self-defense, and therefore you will see marks on the perpetrator.
And take a look at this clip when officers first approached the van. There's speculation Petito could have been doing this violence at home signal for help.
It's very hard to look in those recordings what's actually going on. It's kind of frantic. So, I mean, you can probably read into it, you know, what you want to read into it as far as what she may or may not have done. But the bottom line is I think people need to understand, once again, that there is a lot of domestic violence in our communities, and often the domestic violence escalates to a situation where there is a homicide.
Now, police have not confirmed if that was the signal she was using, but if you are in a domestic situation, this is the signal that you can use to alert police if you're in danger. You first put your thumb down and then your fingers follow on top. And if you are a victim of domestic abuse, Torrens says to get out when it is safe to do so.
See, that's the kind of news that's helpful. I didn't know that if you wanted to tell a cop that you're in a domestic violence situation to do that signal. I had no idea. It's the first time I ever heard of that. Okay, let's continue. Next clip is called Search Continues for Fiance of Gabby Petito, and courtesy of Fox 5 San Diego.
And the search is intensifying tonight for the fiance of Gabby.
Real quick, now we're moving into September 23rd. News
Petito,
clips.
Brian Laundrie, a person of interest in her disappearance and death, has not been seen in more than a week. Today's search comes just one day after the coroner officially identified Gabby's body. Our Phil Blauer is back with new details on this manhunt that has captured the nation, if not the world's attention.
I think it has, Kathleen. As of tonight, police don't have Brian Laundrie's cell phone in their possession, and that may be because it is very possible it could have been one of the items that he took with him when his parents said that he left for the reserve more than 8 days ago. The search for Laundrie will resume at daybreak.
Underwater dive teams are joining the search for Brian Laundrie, the person of interest in the death of 22-year-old Gabby Petito, his fiancée. A team made up of 10 divers and 60 officers from multiple agencies are focusing on a 25,000-acre wildlife reserve in Sarasota County, Florida, which is where Laundrie reportedly went for a hike before he vanished about a week ago.
I tell you, these guys are law enforcement partners. They're motivated and they're hungry to find Brian Laundrie.
A heavy police presence outside the Laundrie family home. Earlier this week, the FBI executed a search warrant at the residence to collect evidence that may provide clues in the ongoing case. Investigators are now looking into what role Brian Laundrie's parents may have played as the case now shifts to a homicide investigation.
If their son was innocent, I don't feel that they should have lawyered up as soon as he came back into the state.
The couple had been on a cross-country van trip, but only Laundrie returned back on September 1st. Meantime, memorials are being held nationwide days after Gabby's body was found near Grand Teton National Park in Wyoming. Preliminary autopsy results ruled the death a homicide. Residents in her hometown say they're still in disbelief and shock over her death.
She just seemed like a very innocent, sweet girl. And we all felt like she was our daughter.
The coroner says test results from Gabby Petito's autopsy could come back in the next few days or even weeks.
Dive teams will be...
All right, before we continue, Joey Lal said they should arrest the parents and sister and put big heat on them and they may crack. I like the sound of that. Let's continue. Next clip is called Witnesses Offer Possible Insight into Gabby Petito's Last Days, and this is courtesy of CNN, and this was posted September 23rd.
Back in the water today near the Florida home of Brian Laundrie. The fiancé of 22-year-old Gabby Petito has not been seen now for nearly 2 weeks since returning home from their road trip alone. A large van and a boat from the Sarasota County Sheriff's Office arrived midday Wednesday at a swampy 25,000-acre reserve where Laundrie told his parents that he was headed last week. After 4 days of searching, there is still no sign of him.
This morning, new clues about what may have been the final hours of Petito's life. A couple who says they witnessed an incident involving Petito and Laundrie in a restaurant. It may have been one of the last sightings of Gabby before her death. The couple reports seeing a commotion that had Petito visibly upset.
Amara Walker is on this story for us in Venice, Florida, with the latest on the search for Brian Laundrie. Amara, what are you hearing?
Good morning to you both. Yeah, yesterday, a specialized team of divers was on scene all day, but we're told their search turned up nothing. So law enforcement will be resuming that search here at the Carlton Reserve for Brian Laundrie, and they say they're trying to cover every acre.
Still, no signs of Brian Laundrie this morning as investigators expand the urgent search for Gabby Petito's fiancé.
We've deployed numerous resources, and we are trying to cover every acre in this preserve.
Authorities using canines to help search on the ground and flying drones over the 25,000 acres of swamplands of this Florida nature reserve. Specialized underwater dive teams arriving to assist while high water vehicles navigate through waist-deep water.
Physical searches like that in that type of remote area present all kinds of problems. I mean, it's marshy area, it's thick with foliage. It's very hard to get into certain spots.
Laundrie going missing after returning to the Florida home the couple shared with his parents without Petito on September 1st. Now the FBI is asking the public to help find Laundrie.
Going to the public for help is usually a sign that you have a very challenging manhunt on your hands.
They're also seeking assistance to piece together the timeline of Petito's final days. On August 12th, Petito sharing this photo from the Arches National Park on Instagram. That's the same day a witness dialed 911 to report a domestic dispute between her and Laundrie, prompting police to pull them over.
We just been fighting all morning, and he wouldn't let me in the car before.
1 week later,
I love the van.
The couple posting this video on their YouTube page, documenting their cross-country journey. Jessica Schultz telling the San Francisco Chronicle she saw Laundrie in his van a week later, on August 26th, close to where authorities discovered Petito's remains.
As a van lifer, I was checking out their van, and I was checking out to see if it was a couple or a solo dude. So it was a solo dude, as far as I could see.
Here it is on the left.
The next day, YouTube bloggers also saying they spotted the vehicle. One woman telling CNN she saw Petito and Laundrie in Jackson, Wyoming that day, describing a commotion between the two where Petito was in tears and Laundrie was visibly angry.
She was hysterically crying, and she walked out, and she was crying, and she was staying on the sidewalk, and I was watching the whole thing unfold. He walked back in like 4 more times to talk to the manager and to like tell the hostess off.
It's the same date an affidavit revealing Petito's mother received an odd text from her daughter's phone that referred to her grandfather by Stan, which she never did. One expert saying witness tips can help move a probe forward.
Every little bit helps in an investigation like this, but right now the focus has to be on trying to locate him, dead or alive.
So the FBI, of course, is focused right now on finding Brian Laundrie, but they're also focused on this timeline from August 27th to the 30th. They want to know what happened between Gabby Petito and Brian Laundrie, and they're asking anyone who may have had contact with them or even just saw their vehicle in the Grand Teton National Park to give them a call. Brianna.
Amber Walker, thank you for that report.
I want to bring in Andrew McCabe, CNN senior law enforcement analyst and former deputy FBI director and the author of The Threat, How the FBI Protects America in the Age of Terror and Trump. Andy, so nice to see you. This new bit of reporting last night from Randy Kay, who's been out in Wyoming, this restaurant where a couple saw, a heated exchange between Brian Laundrie and the people who worked at the restaurant. Gabby Petito, visibly upset, may have been the last time anyone saw her alive. How does that fit into the puzzle for investigators?
Well, John, these reports are incredibly helpful to investigators, primarily because they put the victim and the potential subject in a definitive place at a specific time. So that helps them build this timeline to kind of bridge back to that moment of when Gabby was killed. As for the kind of personal remembrances of people who may have seen their interaction, that becomes less helpful. We all know that eyewitness testimony is typically can be very inaccurate. People's remembrances of things change over time. But being able to pin them down to that restaurant at a particular day and time is very helpful.
I want to talk about the search for Brian Laundrie. They keep going back to this nature preserve, and now they have divers searching underwater. Do they have to have some sign or some shred of concrete evidence to keep on doing this? Or is this just hoping for something?
Well, the law enforcement on the scene has been very definitive, saying they're going to search every acre of that property. 25,000 acres, that's approximately 40 square miles of turf they've got to cover. I think I read somewhere there are 80 miles of hiking trails within that park. So it's a big place. At some point, if they find no sign of Brian whatsoever, they're going to have to redirect those resources to other investigative efforts.
How hard would it be if he were to be on the run right now? How long could someone like that do it, do you think?
It's incredibly hard to be on the run. I can tell you in my 21 years in law enforcement and the FBI, I've seen very few people do it successfully for a long time. You're thinking about Whitey Bulger. You're thinking about Eric Robert Rudolph, the Olympic Park bomber who allegedly lived in the woods for 5 years before we found him. You have to have money, you have to have support from your family, from the community, and you have to have a deep level of kind of cunning and street smarts to be able to kind of bridge from one place to the next. There's no indication that Brian Laundrie has any of those things working to his advantage at this point. And if he's in fact in that reserve, that's an incredibly harsh environment in which to try to sustain yourself.
You brought up the family there, and again, we have no indication that the FBI is investigating the parents or the family in connection with any of this. But you brought up Eric Rudolph, Whitey Bulger, the idea that family can sometimes help you hide. If at this point there were anyone trying to help him, it'd be very hard because now the FBI is there.
Right. That's absolutely right. So it's those efforts to support a fugitive that often lead law enforcement, the FBI, right to that fugitive's doorstep, right? So they'll be looking closely at any sort of communications, access to financial instruments, all sorts of things that might connect someone in the community, be it a family member or otherwise, who might be supporting or communicating with Brian, that could actually direct law enforcement to his location.
I asked you, brought up the preserve, and the idea would be hard to hide there. If he is on the run, and we don't know that he is, and we don't know that he's a suspect per se, how far away, if he's not there, how far away could he be reasonably at this point? If you were in the FBI, what would you be thinking?
Well, certainly he has time on his side, right? So he had a several days lead on the law enforcement effort to find him, and that would definitely be to his advantage. However, in this case, Mr. Laundrie is widely known by the public, right? He is on television. His picture is on television. His social media posts for the weeks leading up to this. So he would be very recognizable were he to leave the reserve and try to make a run for it, you know, as we say, on the economy, just through local, local society around where he lived.
You hear a lot of people say head start. He had a head start before the FBI started looking. Is that actually something that you think is real?
I think he did. There's no question the family didn't even tell law enforcement he was gone until the 17th. They said he had left on the previous Tuesday, which was the 14th. So if you think that they don't start looking for him until that Friday or Saturday, and he's been gone since Tuesday, that's a pretty good head start under normal circumstances. However, as I said, with as recognizable as he is, to go out into the world and try to do it on your own, very tough. To try to live in that reserve, probably even tougher.
Good morning.
Sorry, I got caught doing some research. What is this? Hang on 1 second. Let me delete that last video. Gabby Petito's traffic stop. New details. Let me see. This was September 23rd. It looks like this was the original traffic stop, so we already saw that. Sorry about my dogs. They're gonna bark. Dogs are gonna bark. Alright, this next clip is called Gabby Petito's Stepfather Places Stone Memorial at Site Where Body Was Found. And this was courtesy of LiveNOW from Fox and posted September 23rd.
Welcome back to Live Now from Fox, everybody. Almost 9:30 a.m. here on the East Coast. We've got Fox 13 Tampa Sky Fox flying around the Venice, Florida area, specifically at the Carlton Reserve, where the 5th day of searching for 23-year-old Brian Laundrie, the fiance of now deceased Gabby Petito, is on. You can see all of the resources and manpower just lined up and right in front of you here in this one shot. It looks like they might be doing a briefing, getting their assignments and their areas. They're all kind of huddled around that one area. If you look to the more right-hand side of your screen, you can also see all of the ATVs lined up. Again, they have executed all resources to do this search. We've seen swamp buggies, canines, drones, again, agencies and officers on four-wheelers. And we did even see a dive team get called in yesterday as they're beginning to search more of the swamp areas and the water out there as well. So we're going to keep bringing you this shot here on Live Now from Fox as we get it. Meanwhile, I do want to touch on the people, the families, the strangers that have been paying tribute to Gabby Petito since we did learn that the body found near Grand Teton National Park was officially confirmed to be hers by the FBI Denver Bureau. Now, I want to start off with this photo right here, and I'm actually going to take off this lower so you can just see the powerful image. We've got Fox News confirming that Gabby Petito's stepfather, Jim Schmidt, visited the exact site where her body was found at the Spread Creek Dispersed Campground in the Bridger-Teton National Forest. He placed stones in the shape of a cross and flowers on the site. Now, just to give you a wider view of where her body was found, this is some drone footage that we have from the area. So we do know that as this situation was unfolding, her family kind of dispersed. Her parents were in New York. Her dad at one point came down to Florida to be in the Northport area, and her stepfather, Jim Schmidt, stayed out west as the investigation and search efforts were ongoing out there over the weekend. So again, he did make this tribute out there in stone, a cross with flowers on top right where her body was found. But we've also got people who...
All right, we had seen that before. To be honest, like, I had made the playlist and I watched like the first part of it and I edited out some of the repetitive information, but then eventually, like, I was still adding videos, but I didn't like go through them like towards the end, and that's pretty much where we're at. This playlist had, I can't remember, but I want to say it was like almost 200 videos or something like that when we first started it yesterday. So we'll move on from that respectfully. We'll continue on with the next video called Gabby Petito, New Developments with Brian Laundrie's Family Car. And that's courtesy of Live Now from Fox. and
I want to bring
posted September 23rd.
Into the
sorry.
Conversation of Fox's Jonathan Seri. He has been out there following this from the very beginning. And excuse me, Jonathan, I hear that we've gotten a new report that the police have officially returned Brian's Ford Mustang, his personal car, back to the home. Is that correct?
Yeah, we saw Brian's mom returning home in a Ford Mustang, and police have confirmed that they have released it from evidence. Now, the car is actually registered to Brian's mom, but he was driving it locally when he returned from his trip out west. He had spent the most time in it, and so police, during their investigation, when they got that search warrant of the home of Brian's parents, where he and Gabby had been living prior to their trip out west, authorities confiscated that car among other evidence, and apparently they're done retrieving evidence from the car. They would not comment on what, if anything, they were able to find and whether it led to any clues in their investigation, only confirming that that Ford Mustang belonging to Brian's mother has been returned to the family, and Brian's mother indeed was seen driving it back to her home, left the car in the driveway, and then got into a truck leaving the property with her husband. Regina?
Now, Jonathan, we're also showing some footage. We were just showing the footage of when the car was removed from the home, but we're also seeing right now the footage of that white van that the couple took on their road trip across country. So as of right now, we know that the van is obviously still in custody. Is that correct?
That's correct. Authorities still holding that as evidence. That was the first piece of evidence that they took into custody. The search warrant of the home and the Ford Mustang didn't occur until earlier this week. They executed the search warrant a day after they discovered Gabby's body on Sunday. But when Brian was reported missing, police and actually before he was reported missing, when Gabby was reported missing, police immediately turned out to the family's home. The parents would not speak with officers. They would only give the contact information of their attorney, but they did find the van on their property. That van doesn't belong to the Laundries. It actually is registered to Gabby, and so it was easier for them to remove that van from the property without a search warrant of the Laundrie family property. They took that van into evidence, but again, they haven't said what, if anything, they have been able to glean in terms of their investigation. We do know from legal documents filed with Sarasota County Court in a search warrant that they were particularly interested in getting information off of a memory storage device, an external hard drive that was in that van. But again, they haven't said what, if anything, they found on that external drive, Regina.
Wow, very interesting to hear. I do want to ask you, Jonathan, about some new interesting information or claims we really got from neighbors that spoke with Fox News yesterday. What can you tell us about what they said as far as the family taking a camping trip?
That is truly unfortunate. This sounds awful. If it keeps going, I might just skip this video, to be honest.
Right after Brian returned home from, that road trip, and he returned without Gabby.
Yeah, so on September 1st, Brian reportedly returned to his parents' home without Gabby and driving her white van. But neighbors say that everyone's been acting as if nothing happened, that Brian was out mowing the lawn, that he would go for a bike ride. And then some neighbors across the street say that they saw the parents loading up their camper trailer, towing it with the truck. It's a very small camper trailer, so they thought it was kind of odd that you'd have this couple taking their 23-year-old son on what appeared to be a weekend camping trip. But they left with the camper for several days and then returned. But the neighbors say that it's very strange behavior for a missing persons case where you have this family acting very nonchalantly as if nothing's happened.
Yeah, and that leads exactly into my next question for you, Jonathan. Do we know, you've been out there, boots on the ground. I see you're literally in front of the Northport police station. Do we know of any developments, and maybe will the parents be questioned a little bit more? I know that we've had teams outside of the Laundrie home, and it doesn't seem that they've even left their home. So what do we know about moves being made on the parents right now?
Yeah, everyone's frustrated, especially Gabby's family, that the parents haven't been more cooperative with authorities. From the get-go, they would only refer questions to their attorney when police tried to talk with them. And the first time they broke their silence was Friday of last week, when they called police saying that they wanted to talk to officers, but it was because they wanted to report their son missing. Apparently, they offered very little information on the Gabby Petito investigation. It was all focused on their son, who they say had left their home several days earlier, Tuesday of that week. They said that he was going hiking. He told them he was going hiking in that nature preserve, the Carlton Reserve, and then didn't come back for several days. They went out and they retrieved his car, and it was only after they brought the car, that Mustang, back to their property that they called authorities.
And Jonathan, I do want to show our audience some of the footage that we've got from another day of search efforts underway at that preserve. So yesterday we saw that dive team be called in. So does that mean that we're looking for a body, or does that mean that they just wanted to go and search more swampy areas of this land?
Yeah, it's actually the latter. There's been a lot of rain in this part of Florida, and so the Carlton Reserve, which is already a swamp, is now 75% underwater. And so they have this dive team, and they have a very specialized sonar that they use for large bodies of water. They also have cadaver dogs, but police say...
I just wanted to mention real quick, because I am reading the chat while I'm researching and watching the video, but my opinion is I don't think he's like expert level, like survival skill guy. It seems like, yeah, he likes to probably go camping like with his family. That's probably like the extent of it. I don't know if he's ever like survived out in the wilderness eating bugs and stuff like that. I know some people are saying that he spent like months at a time like out in nature, but like was he like getting his food at the store? Because if he's getting his food at the store, he's going to continue doing that. There'll be more sightings. At this point, a lot of people are going to be looking for him, especially if it's going to be in the area where all these searches are taking place. If he's not seen, he's probably like long gone. But I don't see him like actually surviving by like killing animals and gutting fish and doing all that. Like I don't think he's at that level, but I could be wrong. That's just my opinion.
This is not the result of any evidence or any tips that they got. It's just part of the overall search. They want a very comprehensive search and just take into account all scenarios. Now, if Brian is indeed in the preserve and if he is indeed still alive, we spoke with an eco guide, an eco tour guide, who said that someone with knowledge could survive almost indefinitely in that reserve, because think of it, there's plenty of fresh water, there's plenty of fish, and if you know what types of wild edibles are safe to eat, with the proper skills, you could survive indefinitely. And so authorities are clearly hoping that he is somewhere in that 25,000 acre reserve, and they have been searching since Saturday, and they continue that search even as we speak.
All right, and Jonathan, I do believe that we just got a live picture from outside of the Laundrie family home. And what has the activity been looking like? Actually, as you just reported, Jonathan, we see that Mustang in the driveway. So what has the activity outside of the home been looking like?
Yeah, well, initially there was a lot of activity. You had the media surrounding the home, you had some protesters around the home, and whenever there were developments, sometimes the protesters would even encroach on the property. Police have since backed everyone off. They're not allowing people to gather on the street, and certainly not on the property. But people are keeping a watch from across the street on private property. Much fewer people in that neighborhood as police are restricting access. You really need to have business in there, and if you're media even, you have to have permission from private property owners to be on their property across the street. So much less activity than when this case was first reported, but everyone is keeping a keen eye on the Laundrie family home. And again, some significant developments today when we saw both of Brian Laundrie's parents leaving the home in their truck, and then the mother driving back in her Ford Mustang, a Ford Mustang that had been taken into evidence because Brian had been driving it extensively since his return to Florida after Gabby disappeared during their trip out west.
Yeah, definitely a new development this morning, and we thank you for bringing this to us here, Jonathan. My last question to you, I know you're busy, I don't want to keep you too long, but how come we have not, it's been days since we've gotten an official press briefing from lawyers, from police. Why is that, and when do you think that we'll hear from authorities next?
Yeah, well, there's been a shift in the investigation. Now that the investigation has taken steam and that a body was found in another state, the FBI is taking a lead. And so initially it was Northport that was leading the investigation. And so we were hearing from their PIO really on an as-needed basis multiple times a day. Now all questions are being referred to the FBI. It's much more centralized, and the FBI is being very tight-lipped about what evidence they have and what evidence they don't have, playing it very cautiously. Also, since a body's been found, Gabby's family, which had been very vocal with the media, giving interviews every day, they, through their attorney, have said, you know, I'm paraphrasing, we need some space to grieve, but once the body is returned to us from the coroner, we'll talk again. And of course, Brian's family has been tight-lipped, both to police, other than reporting their son missing, and certainly to the media, referring all questions to Brian's attorney, who also has been very tight-lipped throughout this investigation, Regina.
All right, well, Fox's Jonathan Sari out there in Northport, Florida with us live.
All right, let's continue. Loving the discussion in the chat. I would like to thank everybody so much for chatting and contributing to the discussion, and I really like how everyone is agreeing and disagreeing, but doing so with respect. I really appreciate that. Let's continue. Next clip is called Witnesses Offer Possible Insight into Gabby Petito's Last Days, and this is courtesy of CNN.
Dive teams will be back in the water today near the Florida home of Brian Laundrie. The fiance of 22-year-old Gabby Petito has not been seen now for nearly 2 weeks since returning home from their road trip alone. A large van and a boat from the Sarasota County Sheriff's Office arrived midday Wednesday at a swampy 25,000-acre reserve where Laundrie told his parents that he was headed last week. After 4 days of searching, there is still no sign of him.
This morning, new clues about what may have been the final hours of Petito's life. A couple who says they witnessed an incident involving Petito and Laundrie in a restaurant. It may have been one of the last sightings of Gabby before her death. The couple reports seeing a commotion that had Petito visibly upset.
Amara Walker is on this story for us in Venice, Florida, with the latest on the search for Brian Laundrie. Amara, what are you hearing?
Good morning to you both. Yeah, yesterday, a specialized team of divers was on scene all day, but we're told their search turned up nothing. So law enforcement will be resuming that search here at the Carlton Reserve for Brian Laundrie, and they say they're trying to cover every acre.
Still, no signs of Brian Laundrie this morning as investigators expand the urgent search for Gabby Petito's fiance.
We've deployed numerous resources, and we are trying to cover every acre in this preserve.
Authorities using canines to help search on the ground and flying drones over the 25,000 acres of swamplands of this Florida nature reserve. Specialized underwater dive teams arriving to assist while high water vehicles navigate through waist-deep water.
Physical searches like that in that type of remote area present all kinds of problems. I mean, it's marshy area, it's thick with foliage. It's very hard to get into certain spots.
Laundrie going missing after returning to the Florida home the couple shared with his parents without Petito on September 1st. Now the FBI is asking the public to help find Laundrie.
Going to the public for help is usually a sign that you have a very challenging manhunt on your hands.
They're also seeking assistance to piece together the timeline of Petito's final days. On August 12th, Petito sharing this photo from the Arches National Park on Instagram. That's the same day a witness dialed 911 to report a domestic dispute between her and Laundrie, prompting police to pull them over.
We just been fighting all morning and he wouldn't let me in the car before.
1 week later,
I love the van.
The couple posting this video on their YouTube page, documenting their cross-country journey. Jessica Schultz telling the San Francisco Chronicle she saw Laundrie in his van a week later, on August 26th, close to where authorities discovered Petito's remains.
As a van lifer, I was checking out their van and I was checking out to see if it was a couple or a solo dude. So it was a solo dude as far as I could see.
Here it is on the left.
The next day, YouTube bloggers also saying they spotted the vehicle. One woman telling CNN she saw Petito and Laundrie in Jackson, Wyoming that day, describing a commotion between the two where Petito was in tears and Laundrie was visibly angry.
She was hysterically crying. And she walked out and she was crying and she was staying on the sidewalk and I was watching the whole thing unfold. He walked back in like 4 more times to talk to the manager and to like tell the hostess off.
It's the same date an affidavit revealing Petito's mother received an odd text from her daughter's phone that referred to her grandfather by Stan, which she never did. One expert saying witness tips can help move a probe forward.
Every little bit helps in an investigation like this. But right now, the focus has to be on trying to locate him, dead or alive.
So the FBI, of course, is focused right now on finding Brian Laundrie, but they're also focused on this timeline from August 27th to the 30th. They want to know what happened between Gabby Petito and Brian Laundrie, and they're asking anyone who may have had contact with them or even just saw their vehicle in the Grand Teton National Park to give them a call. Brianna.
Amber Walker, thank you for that report.
I want to bring in Andrew McCabe, CNN senior law enforcement analyst and former deputy FBI director and the author of The Threat, How the FBI Protects America in the Age of Terror and Trump. Andy, so nice to see you. This new bit of reporting last night from Randy Kay, who's been out in Wyoming, this restaurant where a couple saw, a heated exchange between Brian Laundrie and the people who worked at the restaurant. Gabby Petito, visibly upset, may have been the last time anyone saw her alive. How does that fit into the puzzle for investigators?
Well, John, these reports are incredibly helpful to investigators, primarily because they put the victim and the potential subject in a definitive place at a specific time. So that helps them build this timeline to kind of bridge back to that moment of when Gabby was killed. As for the kind of personal remembrances of people who may have seen their interaction, that becomes less helpful. We all know that eyewitness testimony is typically can be very inaccurate. People's remembrances of things change over time. But being able to pin them down to that restaurant at a particular day and time is very helpful.
I want to talk about the search for Brian Laundrie. They keep going back to this nature preserve, and now they have divers searching underwater. Do they have to have some sign or some shred of concrete evidence to keep on doing this? Or is this just hoping for something?
Well, the law enforcement on the scene has been very definitive, saying they're going to search every acre of that property. 25,000 acres, that's approximately 40 square miles of turf they've got to cover. I think I read somewhere there are 80 miles of hiking trails within that park. So it's a big place. At some point, if they find no sign of Brian whatsoever, they're going to have to redirect those resources to other investigative efforts.
How hard would it be if he were to be on the run right now? How long could someone like that do it, do you think?
It's incredibly hard to be on the run. I can tell you.
All right, so they're they're offering like their own opinions and stuff like that. But really quick, what I wanted to share with you guys is I have been keeping an eye on the Twitter account that we were talking about, and this was him, Jonathan Lee Riches. And you see this photograph, I'm guessing that's him, with the photo of Gabby, and then it's Cassie and her husband in the background. So someone in the chat said that there was a video on YouTube, so I went to go look for it. Sorry. And I noticed that this guy is here. So it's his video. But it looks like somebody here has like a 7-second clip. Like, I would honestly rather just wait for him to like upload it on Twitter, cause like all these other ones, I don't know, like there's other content creators live streaming the situation right now, and I don't want to use their stuff, so I'm not too sure if they're playing it, and if they are, where they got it from. But I'm gonna keep checking the Twitter account, and hopefully we'll be able to watch it before we finish up today. So I'm still here though, but let's go back to what we were doing. Next clip is called Gabby Petito Case Puts New Focus on Domestic Violence in U.S. And this is courtesy of CBS News and posted September 23rd.
Well, it could be weeks before we know what led to Gabby Petito's death. As we wait for the final autopsy results, we've learned the coroner has ruled her death a homicide. Now, weeks before Petito died, a 911 caller said he saw a man who was traveling in a white van with Florida license plates allegedly hit a woman in Utah. Petito and her fiancé Brian Laundrie were traveling in a van that matches that description. Laundrie, though, is not charged with any crimes at this time, but investigators are calling him a person of interest in this case. Petito's story has started a conversation nationwide about domestic violence. An analysis by the Violence Policy Center found 92% of women murdered in 2018 were killed by men they knew. So I want to bring in Kirsten Stewart. She is the director of public policy and advocacy at Futures Without Violence, a nonprofit that works to end violence against women and children. Kirsten, thanks for joining us this morning. And, you know, we saw the body camera video of Gabby Petito and Brian Laundrie after police in Utah pulled them over. Petito visibly upset in the video. You see her right there. What was your reaction when you saw this video and you saw her demeanor? And what do you hope that people learn from seeing this story play out on social media almost in real time?
Yeah, thank you, Laura. And thank you so much for taking on this issue and talking about it in the bigger context of domestic violence. My initial reaction, I think, was like everyone.
I'm not sure. I was typing. Hold on.
A person of interest.
Hold up.
Allegedly hit a woman in Utah. Petito and her fiancé Brian Laundrie were traveling in a van that matches that description. Laundrie, though, is not charged with any crimes at this time, but investigators are calling him a person of interest in this case. Petito's story has started a conversation nationwide about domestic violence. An analysis by the Violence Policy Center found 92% of women murdered in 2018 were killed by men they knew. So I want to bring in Kirsten Stewart. She is the director of public policy and advocacy at Futures Without Violence, a nonprofit that works to end violence against women and children. Kirsten, thanks for joining us this morning. And, you know, we saw the body camera video of Gabby Petito and Brian Laundrie after police in Utah pulled them over. Petito visibly upset in the video. You see her right there. What was your reaction when you saw this video and you saw her demeanor? And what do you hope that people learn from seeing this story play out on social media almost in real time?
Yeah, thank you, Laura. And thank you so much for taking on this issue and talking about it in the bigger context of domestic violence. My initial reaction, I think, was like everyone else's, just utter heartbreak. Especially now that we, of course, know what happened to her. We feel nothing but grief and sadness for her family. Unfortunately, what happened to her is not all that unusual in America. Domestic violence affects between 1 in 3 and 1 in 4 women. And it's young women like Gabby who are most affected, those 18 to 24. So you saw in her, you saw some of that fear. And that's something that I think is important to hone in on. When we talk about domestic violence, we often think about just the physical violence, but it's important to pay attention to the fear, the concern, the discussion of conflict. When you are a friend or a family member, do you see someone who's afraid? Are they afraid to disagree? Are they afraid of that person? That's one of those big warning signs that we see in that video.
As you mentioned, 1 in 3 women can find themselves in a situation where they're involved in domestic violence. So clearly, Gabby Petito, not the only woman to have a situation where they end up calling the police or have police arrive and ask them what's going on. What is fueling this domestic violence epidemic?
Well, I think it's really important to know 2 things. I mean, one, we have made enormous progress in this country in addressing domestic violence. We have seen decreases of about 2/3 in the last, 25 to 30 years. But as you point out, we're starting to see an increase again in severe physical violence, even and in homicides. We don't know for sure yet what happened, but it certainly that's what it seems like the case in Gabby's situation. So we're seeing, we certainly think the pandemic may have some contribution to the overall numbers, but I think it's really important that we haven't invested enough in prevention. Somebody doesn't turn 23 and decide it's okay to start physically abusing their partner. People learn early how to treat one another, whether it's okay to use physical violence in a relationship. So we need to start much earlier, helping young people learn how to have healthy relationships. We need to talk about gender norms around how we treat one another. Domestic violence isn't always men abusing women. It can happen in same-sex relationships. It can happen, women can be the perpetrators, but it is most often men who are violent towards their female partners. So we need to really engage men more and also be leaders and role models, right? And changing the social norms.
Kirsten, is there one group or more than one group where domestic violence affects that group more than another?
Yeah, that is one of the important things we've learned over time, which is some of our prevention efforts have been really successful, but not for everybody. So African American women and Native American and Indigenous women experience the highest rates of domestic violence, and particularly severe domestic violence, including homicide. So it's important that we, pay attention to what happened to Gabby. And again, we offer nothing but the deepest sympathies to her family. We also need to know that there's a lot more women out there who are affected. And we really hope the news media will continue to cover this issue, even past the Gabby story.
Kirsten Stewart, thank you. And as a reminder, if you or someone you know needs help, the National Domestic Violence Hotline has counselors available around the clock. The number is 1-800-799-7233. And in our 9 o'clock.
Unfortunately, these other videos, I don't know what that was going to say, but that's the number there. So at least it showed that. I'm just kind of curious what's under this video here. But it's good information to know. Let's continue. I'm noticing people in the chat saying that the interview with Cassie is released somewhere. I don't know where people are getting it. If we're on the guy's page, you can't see it, but here, let's go back to that Twitter page so you can see what I see. But yeah, like it says here, Cassie Laundrie and her husband came outside from their home to speak to us, so this has to be him, for almost 20 minutes. Full video coming out soon. And then up here it says, 4 minutes ago, my team and me will be back out in front of the home of Brian Laundrie tomorrow morning, Tuesday, seeking justice for Gabby. Come join us. Hopefully the Dirty Laundry parents talk to us next. But I'm not seeing like any uploads that he did. He did pin a tweet, but that doesn't go anywhere. So, and this is a plane flying in the sky. Like, that's not what we're looking for. This was 4 hours ago, but it's not a video, it's just pictures. This was from 5 hours ago, so like that's not correct, because over here an hour ago he says full video coming out soon, and nothing's been posted since an hour ago, except for that tweet that I just shared about his invitation to go and protest with him. So keeping an eye on that. Let's go back to my playlist. Next video is called Brian Laundrie Search, Florida Official Search for Gabby Petito's Fiance. So this is more about his search. If it gets to be like repetitive information, I will just go ahead and skip it and we'll go on to the next one.
Police searched the massive Carlton Reserve for the 5th day. The question remains, is Brian Laundrie even there? Fox 13's Kimberly Quizan joins us live from the Venice side of the reserve. What have you seen out there today, Kim?
Yeah, well, Linda, we've seen a lot of what we've seen over the last couple of days here at this entrance. We've seen those swamp buggies going in. We've seen ATVs coming in and out. And we've seen investigators on the ground continuing to comb over this land. Keep in mind, the reserve out here is 25,000 acres, and part of the land that they are searching on, 75% of that is underwater right now, and that can prove to be a difficult task. But the Northport Police Department, FBI, they say they are working to leave no stone unturned. They want to go through all 25,000 acres, and that includes the water, the lakes, the ponds that are out here, looking for any evidence that Brian was possibly ever here, or maybe that he is still here. Now, I want to show you some brand new video. This is video of Brian Laundrie's parents, Chris and Roberta, bringing that Mustang home that was taken away from the Laundrie household as that search warrant was executed on Monday. They brought the Mustang back home, and then they got back into their family truck, leaving once more. We've heard that they've done this 2 times already, just the one time bringing the Mustang home. But we are trying to find out some more information about what's going on with that. But that's some of the first movement we've seen at the Laundrie household over the last few days. And I just did speak with a retired FBI agent. A lot of people have the question as to why they are still continuing to exhaust their search efforts out here. And he said that there is something more than likely here. He said that this would not just be happening for a waste of time. He says that there is something other than just Brian's parents pointing them in this direction. Linda, back to you.
Oh, that's the first we've heard of that. That does make sense, because you see all the manpower out there, Kim, and that's costing a lot of money. I mean, who's at this point, the taxpayer is paying for this, or who's paying for all of it?
Yeah, well, Linda, right now, that's not even a question that's going to come up at this point in time. These agencies just want to work to find Brian Laundrie, to kind of figure out what happened with Gabby Petito. But these agencies are out here all working together. And again, as that retired FBI agent said, keep in mind, this isn't CIS. This isn't one of those crime investigative shows. They more than likely have more evidence that they have in their hands that they're not telling us. They don't want us to ruin their investigation, so they are going off of tips.
All right, so that's more footage of his search, which we all know at this time they still haven't found him. Let's watch this. This is 60 Minutes Australia, so this is interesting. I've never played any of their content before, so I'm interested to see if they allow it. But I'm going to try. This is called Inside the Gabby Petito Murder Investigation. Could she have been saved? And this was posted September 26th. So this is now 3 days after the last video we just saw. That was pretty much an overview of the case so far. And this looks like another overview. Let's keep going. Alright, so here we have another pivotal moment in the case. And this is federal arrest warrant issued for Gabby Petito's fiance Brian Laundrie, and this was posted September 24th and courtesy of Today.
This morning, the nationwide search for Brian Laundrie picking up steam. Authorities now armed with a federal warrant for his arrest. The FBI says Laundrie is wanted for use of unauthorized access devices. According to court documents, Laundrie used an unauthorized debit card and PIN number in late August, and knowingly and with intent to defraud, withdrew $1,000 or more from a Wyoming ATM. The Laundrie family's attorney saying in a statement, "It is my understanding that the arrest warrant for Brian Laundrie is related to activities occurring after the death of Gabby Petito and not related to her actual demise." Laundrie's parents were seen Thursday driving away from their home. Their son and Gabby Petito left on a cross-country trip from her parents' home in Long Island, New York on July 2nd. The city of Moab, Utah announced it's launching an independent investigation into the way officers handled this August 12th incident, captured on body cam between Gabby and Brian.
We've been fighting all morning and he would let me in the car before.
According to an affidavit, the responding officer described it as a mental health crisis, not a domestic assault. The city saying it's unaware of any breach of policy at this time. Laundrie returned home to Florida without Petito September 1st. On Sunday, her body was discovered in a remote area of Wyoming's Bridger-Teton National Forest. The coroner calling it a homicide, but not revealing a cause of death. Laundrie's parents told police their son went for a hike last week at the 25,000-acre Carlton Reserve near their Florida home. Federal, state, and local officials have searched for days using drones, K-9 units, ATVs, and underwater dive teams.
This is a tremendous, massive land. The more people, the more effective we are.
While the search continues for Laundrie, supporters gather at vigils and growing memorials for Gabby.
It's just heartbreaking. I feel so bad for the family.
In the meantime, Katie, there's another apparent piece of information. One of Gabby Petito's friends said that Laundrie is equipped to go off-grid, that he'd actually done this before and been gone for I don't remember what period of time. But the area where they're searching is obviously challenging. What are officials saying about that?
Yeah, Hoda, that report said it was 3 months he spent on the Appalachian Trail, a similar survival-style trek. But survival experts say even someone who is prepared would need to be well-equipped and well-prepared to endure these elements. The heat, the humidity, obviously having a way to boil water and have shelter out here is not the easiest. In contention also with gators and snakes. Keep in mind the swampland, 75% of it is underwater. So even for someone who is a trained survivalist, this would be a real struggle.
Yeah, if
Hoda?
in fact he is still in Florida, you know, he could actually be somewhere else. Who really knows? All right, Katie, thank you.
Hey, thanks for watching our YouTube channel.
Okay, that's enough. Let's continue on with the playlist. Next clip is called 48 Hours Explores What Happened to Gabby Petito, and it's courtesy of 48 Hours, and this was posted September 24th. Let's watch.
Well, before her disappearance, Gabby Petito documented her cross-country journey with her fiancé online. When she was reported missing on September 11th, the case was everywhere, including on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. As it turns out, social media users may have helped authorities find Gabby, but the hunt still continues for her fiancé, Brian Laundrie, who is a person of interest in the case. Jerika Duncan reports on this week's 48 Hours.
In July 2021, Gabby Petito and her fiancé, Brian Laundrie, began what looked like a romantic adventure full of promise.
I love the band.
Rose Davis, one of Gabby's closest friends, says the couple was in love, but there was also something going on behind the scenes.
I was concerned with them spending that much time together. When I was last seeing them and everything, they were rocky.
On August 12th, Moab, Utah police were dispatched when a 911 caller reported seeing a confrontation between Gabby and Brian.
We drove by and the gentleman was slapping the girl.
What's going on? How come you're crying? I'm just crying. We've just been fighting this morning. Some personal issues.
It's unclear if officers at the scene were given the details of the 911 call. Gabby never mentioned Brian hitting her, but Brian told police that Gabby attacked him. Police separated them for the night and they continued their journey. Gabby would go missing 2 weeks later. The cross-country journey documented on social media turned into a cross-country virtual search party. The question was, where was Gabby Petito? One van life couple had been paying close attention to Gabby's story, Kyle and Jen Bethune. When Jen saw a post that Gabby and Brian had been in the Tetons in Wyoming on the same night that they had been, she rushed to her computer to view footage of their trip.
And I saw that white speck of van, and I was like, please keep going, please keep going. And it did, and it got bigger and bigger.
We just, some reason, instantly knew that it was hers.
The Bethunes say they called the FBI and uploaded their footage to the FBI website. The next day came the announcement that everyone had been dreading.
Human remains were discovered.
Gabby's remains had been found a 4-minute walk from where the Bethunes had spotted the van.
And Jerika is joining us now for more on her reporting. Jerika, there are so many questions in this case, but currently, of course, the biggest one is, where do authorities believe Brian Laundrie is?
Well, they're continuing their search, Vlad. They don't know where he is, but they're hoping that they find him. And they've been focused on this area, the Carlton Reserve. It's a swampy area. There's snakes, there's alligators. It's been very difficult. They had dive teams here at one point, but then they were called off. So I just spoke to the PIO for the Northport Police, which was initially handling this investigation. But of course, it's now being led by the FBI. And to be completely honest with you, he just sounded exhausted himself because they've been doing all that they can at this point to try to locate Brian Laundrie. He said the search continues. He's not sure where that will go this weekend. But they are trying to rule out different areas of where we're standing because it is so deep, it's so vast. Obviously, you can't really get a sense of that from what you're seeing behind me. But we've even spoken to people in this community who've been so drawn to this case that they started to search on their own. We were out on a boat, actually, with a man who used to be a tour guide and decided that he wanted to try and help with the efforts along the river here that runs at least, 10 miles, 30 miles long. So Vlad, I think to answer your question, they don't know where he is. They're obviously looking for him, and the ante was upped, if you will, because now you have a federal search warrant in violation of what they're saying is use of unauthorized access devices. Basically, the FBI stating that he used bank cards to retrieve, it said, obtain things of value aggregating to $1,000 or more. So that is what they are able to use to arrest him in this case. There's been so much criticism about why didn't police just essentially question him or, make him leave the home because he was the last person really to be with Gabby any extended length of time. But police made it clear he has a constitutional right not to speak. So this allows them right now, this is the first thing that we've seen with some meat on it, if you will, that says we can arrest him based on this federal violation.
We've talked about this all week long, Jerika. The case, of course, has garnered a lot of attention, and there's also been some criticism about that. What has been the criticism, and what are you hearing from folks that you're talking to about it?
All right, let's go ahead and move on from here. So there are some questions in the chat about the the credit cards and stuff like that. So I did a little bit of research. I'm not too sure if this is going to answer the question. All we can do is read it together and see if we can find out what's going on with this bank card fraud. So let's see. The question is if it's one card on 2 accounts, or I guess if it's like 2 cards. Alright, so it says the boyfriend of Gabby Petito, whose body was found at a national park in Wyoming, was charged with unauthorized use of a debit card as searchers continued looking for him. A federal grand jury indictment filed in U.S. District Court in Wyoming alleges Brian Laundrie used a Capital One bank card and someone's personal identification number to make unauthorized withdrawals or charges worth more than $1,000 during the period in which Petito went missing. It does not say who the card belonged to. FBI spokeswoman Courtney Bernal declined to reveal the nature of the charges made to the debit card. FBI Special Agent in Charge Michael Schneider said an arrest warrant issued Wednesday over the alleged fraudulent use of the bank card will allow law enforcement across the country to continue pursuing Laundrie while the investigation continues into Petito's homicide. And then it talks about him, and then the search, more about the search. It says the indictment says unauthorized use of the debit card occurred from about August 30th to September 1st. And then about his family understanding that the arrest warrant was related to activities that occurred after the death of Petito and not to her actual demise. They're very focused on that part. The FBI is focused on locating Brian, and when that occurs, the specifics of the charges covered under the indictment will be addressed in the proper forum. So, and then it talks about her, about Gabby Petito and what happened to her. And just some background information, it looks like. I don't see much more else about the credit card. So I hope that answers the question. If not, let me know and I'll keep searching. Let's look at the next video. Okay, let's not look at this one. I meant to take that one out. Okay, next one is called FBI Takes Over Brian Laundrie's Search, and that was posted September 27th, courtesy of Fox 13 Tampa Bay. Oh geez, I don't know why that happens. Oh, I know why. Because I never stopped sharing the article. It's a good thing that worked itself out. Okay, let's go back. Alright, so let's watch this clip. That's better.
The FBI is now leading the manhunt for him following the funeral of his fiancée, Gabby Petito, this weekend. Their first step, requesting DNA evidence from his family's home in Northport. That's where we find Fox 13's Kimberly Quizon live with the very latest developments for us. Hi, Kim. What can you tell us?
Hi, Linda. Well, you may hear some noise behind me right now. We have some people that are outside of Brian Laundrie's house, rather, here in Northport, asking for answers and justice for Gabby Petito, as the nation is. But moving back to what's going on today, we know that up until this point, Northport police had been the lead for the search for Brian Laundrie here in Northport, with multiple law enforcement agencies assisting them. Now they're telling us that the FBI is leading everything, including the search, which has now scaled back. And going straight to the video, Sky Fox was able to spot a few crews in the area of the reserve. There are unmarked cars along with a few Northport police cars still searching and looking for signs of Brian Laundrie. As the scaled back effort continues, this is happening. After the FBI showed up to the Laundrie house yesterday here in Northport, they requested items of Brian's to assist them with DNA matching. The FBI showed up as Gabby's friends and family in New York gathered to remember her and her life lost way too soon, as they continue to wait for answers and any signs of Brian Laundrie. Once again, live back out here outside of Brian Laundrie's house. These are just two people that are out here demanding justice for Gabby Petito. As we have been out here, there has been little movement outside of the house, but if there are any developments or if we learn of anything new, we will bring it straight to you. Linda, back to you.
Yeah, quick question, Kim. Are they, the protesters, demanding anything specific from the parents or just justice?
Yeah, so these two people, they've been out here. At one point in time, they actually had press shirts on earlier this week saying that they were covering the Gabby Petito story. But they're just asking for the family to let authorities know where Brian Laundrie is. And they're calling for that justice for Gabby Petito, much as the nation is.
All right, Kimberly Quizon reporting live for us. I know you'll keep us updated if anything changes. Thank you.
Okay, let's continue. I am answering any questions that happen. Hey, Lady J. Thanks for stopping by. Nicolette Moore in the house. So good to see you. But yes, I am answering questions in the chat. If I could do a Google search and just a copy paste, it's not, you know, a lot of trouble. So any questions that you all have, no problem. Alright, let's continue. This next clip is called Gabby Petito Case. Brian Laundrie search continues after arrest warrant for using her bank card. This looks like it's cops talking, some footage of Gabby Petito and Brian Laundrie. I don't think there'll be anything of note there, so I'll just respectfully move along. This next clip is called Officers Defend Fruitless Search for Brian Laundrie in Sarasota Reserve. So that could be something. Fox 13 Tampa Bay. And this was posted September 12th. I'll go ahead and put my IG in the chat. But that's going to be my true crime Instagram. So everyone is welcome to follow. Let me go ahead and post that. But yeah, like if you need to DM me something, you can do it through there. Alright, let's continue. Next clip is called "Experts Say Don't Rush to Judgment as Public Pressure Builds for Laundrie Parents to Speak." So let's hear about that. That's courtesy of Fox 13 Tampa.
At this time, and it remains at this time, they're not selling these bracelets. It's not a bracelet that you can buy. There's so many people that want to help.
Sorry about that. I was checking my IG for some messages that I got. So this video is about some bracelets that they released to celebrate Gabby Petito's life. It's a 50-second clip, so I'll just go, move past it respectfully. This next clip, let me see. This is called "New Gabby Petito Brian Laundrie Dispatch," audio released by Grand County. Let's watch that. It's by Fox 13 News Utah. Posted September 24th. It's a really quick video, so let's watch that.
An update on the Gabby Petito investigation. We told you yesterday the city of Moab has requested an independent investigation into whether their police officers responded appropriately to a call involving Gabby Petito and Brian Laundrie on August 12th. In audio exclusively obtained by Fox 13, the dispatcher who took the call clearly told officers a witness reported that Laundrie hit Petito.
RP states a male hit a female domestic. He got into a white Ford Transit van, has a black ladder on the back, Florida plate.
What's your guys' name? Also new today, court documents out of Wyoming say once Laundrie is taken into custody, he should be held in jail because he's a potential flight risk.
The FBI issued an arrest warrant for Brian Laundrie last night. Officials say he charged over $1,000 on someone else's debit card days after Gabby Petito was last seen. Joining us now is Justice Janine Pirro, host of Justice with Judge Janine, which is an awesome show on Saturday night. So Brian Laundrie, dead or alive at this point, do you think?
You know, I don't know. For a while, I thought he might be dead. But when I think back to the fact that the parents, I think, were very involved in making sure he was able to escape, covering up his whereabouts until the 17th. So they had from September 1st to the 17th, there's all this unusual activity, buying a camper. He goes camping with his parents. I don't know any 23-year-old who does. I think that they were either casing out a place where he could go or they were getting rid of evidence. I think he's arrogant enough to think that he can survive this. But on the other hand, he may say, I don't want to go to jail, so I'd rather die. Who knows?
And then, so is the search just in that Carlton Reserve, or is it much broader?
The search is much broader. And, you know, everybody thinks they're looking in the Carlton Reserve for Brian. I think they may be looking for evidence in the Carlton Reserve because, remember, the parents helped him clean out the camper, her van that he brought back. We don't know what was in the van. We don't know what was in the Mustang. The parents have pretty much kept all of that away from the police by their silence, by their lawyering up. There's all kinds of evidence that's gone. So there may be evidence that they're looking for in addition to Laundrie in the in that swamp area.
One thing I don't know if our viewers know about you, and I've only learned this week, that in 1978, you set up the first domestic violence unit as a prosecutor. And one of the reasons you wanted to, in the country. And you did that because you knew that this is a problem that happens. What do you think about what Mark Furman said about what happened in Utah?
You know, the problem is when you have a police officer saying that domestic violence charges are not meant for people going through the state and traveling through the state. They're only meant for people who live in the state. That is outrageous. That's what people were thinking 40 years ago. I started, you're right, the first domestic violence unit in the country. It was a pilot project. That mentality is what gets young people like this in real trouble. The law in Utah makes it very clear that there is a mandatory arrest in a case where the police believe there will be continuing violence. There was a call to 911 by an outsider who said he's slapping her. The car was swerving, hitting the curb. They were both agitated. She was hitting him, and it was clear that he didn't want her in the van. He was trying to prevent her from getting into her own van. You don't just turn around and say, well, that's the end of it. You know, they're from out of state. Well, maybe he is going to leave her here, which is exactly what it appeared to be. Domestic violence violence cases are cases where you have to assess the danger to the woman or to the man in 10% of the cases. I very much disagree with Mark. He was wrong.
Because he said that if you're going through the state, that the
domestic
laws aren't for
violence
there.
laws don't apply to you. But there is mandatory arrest in most states in this country. The police have an obligation to assess who is the primary aggressor and who is the one that they're going to put under arrest. In some states, they'll put them both under arrest. And he says, well, they'll both be bailed. Who knows what was going to happen in this case? Who knows?
Will we get an update about this case tomorrow night on the show?
Absolutely. I'm doing it tomorrow night. Dr. Bodden will be on the show. Okay. We've also got Lou Holtz. We've got a whole bunch of people. Yeah.
Okay, we don't need to hear that part. Let's go ahead and move past that. I guess I erased it and I didn't know. Alright, so we went ahead, or we, like it's a group effort, but I went ahead and went into my Instagram and I brought up the copies of the statement from the FBI Denver and copies of the indictment and the warrant. So let's go ahead and stop sharing the screen and move along to here. Alright, so I'm going to maximize this. It's still really tiny. I tried really hard to like make it bigger, but I can't. But it's okay because I can read it. So let me go ahead and start reading. Alright, it says news release. U.S. Department of Justice Federal Bureau Investigation. And we have an address. And it says for immediate release. This was Tuesday, September 21st. It says Courtney Bernal, Acting Public Affairs Specialist. And it says, investigators from the FBI Denver Field Office, its Wyoming resident agencies, the National Park Service, U.S. Forest Service, Teton County Sheriff's Office, Teton County Search and Rescue, and Jackson Police Department participated in a search for evidence in a remote area of the Grand Teton National Park and the Bridger Teton National Forest. On Sunday, September 19, 2021, human remains were located and recovered consistent with the description of Gabby Petito. The remains were transported to the Teton County Coroner's Office for forensic examination to confirm identity and determine the manner and cause of death. Teton County Coroner Dr. Brent Blue confirmed the remains are those of Gabrielle Venora Petito, date of birth March 19, 1999. Coroner Blue's initial determination for the manner of death is homicide. The cause of death remains pending final autopsy results. The FBI's commitment to justice is at the forefront of each and every investigation, said FBI Denver Special Agent in Charge Michael Schneider. The FBI and our partners remain dedicated to ensuring anyone responsible for or complicit in Ms. Petito's death is held accountable for their actions. Mr. Brian Laundrie has been named a person of interest. Anyone with information concerning Mr. Laundrie's role in this matter or his current whereabouts should contact the FBI. The forensic search has concluded of the Spread Creek dispersed camping area and the law enforcement has released the area. The FBI is seeking information from anyone who utilized the Spread Creek dispersed camping area between the dates of August 27th and the 30th, 2021. Who may have had contact with Ms. Petito or Mr. Laundrie or who may have seen their vehicle. The Spread Creek dispersed camping area is located within the Bridger Teton National Forest on the east boundary of Grand Teton National Park in Wyoming. See map. For photos and details, please see the FBI's Seeking Information poster for Ms. Petito, relevant information. Then it has a number to reach out to them. It says a media tip line. For photos and detail, oh sorry, I just read that. FBI Denver thanks the public for their continuing support of this investigation and the valuable tips that have been submitted. FBI Denver appreciates the collaboration of all agencies and personnel who assisted in the search, recovery, and identification efforts. We extend sincere condolences to Gabby's family, friends, and all the people whose lives she touched. So that's what that one said, and let's continue. There were some other documents I received. This is the second one. Alright, so again, this is small, but we're going to read it. It says United States District Court for the District of Wyoming. It says United States of America v. Brian Christopher Laundrie. Then it has a case number. Off to the right, at the top right, it says filed, Margaret Botkins, clerk of court, and underneath that it says arrest warrant, and it says to any authorized law enforcement officer. You are commanded to arrest and bring before a United States magistrate judge without unnecessary delay. Name a person to be arrested, Brian Christopher Laundrie, who is accused of an offense or violation based on the following document filed with the court, and it says checked off indictment, and underneath that it says this offense is briefly described as follows. It says 18 USC some figure 1029, and then A in parentheses, 1 in parentheses, use of unauthorized access devices. Date was 9/22 of 2021, and we have a signature, a seal. City and state is Cheyenne, Wyoming, and then printed name and title Kelly H. Rankin, Chief Magistrate Judge. Underneath that it says return. This warrant was received on, and that information is blank, and the person was arrested on. Okay, so I guess that's the part they fill out once they have arrested him. So let's look at the last document I received, and then we'll keep it moving. Page 3, there we go. Alright, this says in the United States District Court for the District of Wyoming, United States of America, plaintiff v. Brian Christopher Laundrie, and then off to the right some codes. It says indictment, and it says the grand jury charges that count 1 from on or about August 30th, 2021 through and including on or about September 1st, 2021 in the District of Wyoming and elsewhere. The defendant, Brian Christopher Laundrie, knowingly and with intent to defraud, used one or more unauthorized access devices, namely a Capital One bank debit card ending in 8774 and a personal identification number for Capital One bank accounts ending in 0525 and 8665, and by such conduct obtained things of value aggregating to $1,000 or more during that period which affected interstate commerce in violation of 18 USC, and then the figure 1029, and then all these other numbers, and the foreperson signed, and the acting United States attorney signed. So thank you very much for that information. I think Redneck provided that for us. We appreciate it. Alright, let's continue, and that way I could catch up with the chat because I haven't been reading the chat while I was reading. Next clip is called Brian Laundrie's Parents Covered Up for Him, Judge Janine. So this is her opinion, courtesy of Fox News, and this was posted September 24th. Let's hear what she has to say.
FBI issued an arrest warrant for Brian Laundrie last night. Officials say he charged over $1,000 on someone else's debit card days after Gabby Petito was last seen. Joining us now is Justice Janine Pirro, host of Justice with Judge Janine, which is an awesome show on Saturday night. So Brian Laundrie, dead or alive at this point, do you think?
You know, I don't know. For a while, I thought he might be dead. But when I think back to the fact that the parents, I think, were very involved in making sure he was able to escape, covering up his whereabouts until the 17th. So they had from September 1st to the 17th. There's all this unusual activity, buying a camper. He goes camping with his parents. I don't know any 23-year-old who does. I think that they were either casing out a place where he could go, or they were getting rid of evidence. I think he's arrogant enough to think that he can survive this. But on the other hand, he may say, I don't want to go to jail, so I'd rather die. Who knows?
And then, so is the search just in that Carlton Reserve, or is it much?
Sorry, pause. But no, I don't feel that. Like, that's her opinion, that's cool and everything. But nah, I'm having a hard time picturing him. Like, the more I hear, like, about him, and I'm watching these news clips and talking to you all, I'm feeling more and more like, nah, like, he's held up somewhere. I guess just trying to figure things out. Maybe he's like talking to the lawyer. A lawyer wouldn't have to tell us if he's been in contact with them, right? But I don't feel like he's out there like suffering the elements of nature and stuff like that. I feel for some reason he's just comfortable high kicking it somewhere, just waiting for instructions or what, because I mean, if he's in a hotel room, well, the money's gonna run out eventually. So he could be like maybe at a family member's house somewhere. Like, do we know where all his family is at? They could be all over the country, you know, or anywhere around the world, in fact. But I myself, I'm not feeling like he's on the run like that. I don't even think he's hitchhiking anymore. I'm not even sure I'm believing like any of the sightings that have been, you know, talked about lately.
It's broader. The search is much broader, and you know, everybody thinks they're looking in the Carlton Reserve for Brian. I think they may be looking for evidence in the Carlton Reserve, because remember, the parents helped him clean out the camper, her van that he brought back. We don't know what was in the van. We don't know what was in the Mustang. The parents have pretty much kept all of that away from the police by their silence, by their lawyering up. There's all kinds of evidence that's gone. So there may be evidence that they're looking for in addition to Laundrie in that swamp area.
One thing I don't know if our viewers know about you, and I've only learned this week, that in 1978 you set up the first domestic violence unit as a prosecutor, and one of the reasons you wanted to in the country, and you did that because you knew that this is a problem that happens. What do you think about what Mark Furman said about what happened in Utah?
You know, the problem is when you have a police officer saying that domestic violence charges are not meant for people going through the state and traveling through the state. They're only meant for people who live in the state. That is outrageous. That's what people were thinking 40 years ago. I started, you're right, the first domestic violence unit in the country. It was a pilot project. That mentality is what gets young people like this in real trouble. The law in Utah makes it very clear that there is a mandatory arrest in a case where the police believe there will be continuing violence. There was a call to 911 by an outsider who said he's slapping her. The car was swerving, hitting the curb. They were both agitated. She was hitting him, and it was clear that he didn't want her in the van. He was trying to prevent her from getting into her own van. You don't just turn around and say, well, that's the end of it. You know, they're from out of state. Well, maybe he is going to leave her here, which is exactly what it appeared to be. Domestic violence cases are cases where you have to assess the danger to the woman or to the man in 10% of the cases. I very much disagree with Mark. He was wrong.
Because he said that if you're going through the state, that the laws aren't for there.
Domestic violence laws don't apply to you. But there is mandatory arrest in most states in this country. The police have an obligation to assess who is the primary aggressor and who is the one that they're going to put under arrest. In some states, they'll put them both under arrest. And he says, well, they'll both be bailed. Who knows what was going to happen in this case? Who knows?
Will we get an update about this case tomorrow night on the show?
Absolutely. I'm doing it tomorrow night. Dr. Bodden will be on the show. Okay. We've also got Lou Holtz. We've got a whole bunch of people. Yeah, it'll be fun.
Okay, that's Janine. All right, let's continue. Let's see, we have like 47 clips to go. I don't think I'm gonna be able to finish 47 clips tonight. I want to say some of them are kind of long too. Yeah, like there's a 2-hour news conference, and we still haven't even seen the second body cam footage. So this probably will be a 3-parter. So considering that, I'll probably just show a few more clips tonight and then call it a night, and then I'll try to go live tomorrow. No promises though, because I have 2 shifts, which means, which means I'll be working all day. So, but I will try, and if not, I'll find out when the next day is when I only have a single shift, and I'll definitely go live that day. But the next clip we're gonna watch is Brian Laundrie still missing after arrest warrant issued in Gabby Petito case. This is courtesy of Eyewitness News ABC 7 NY. And this was also posted September 24th.
On the murder of Gabby Petito, her wanted man of a fiance, yes, he's still missing. And today the search for Brian Laundrie continues in a swampy reserve filled with gators and snakes near his family's home in Florida, the last place where he supposedly went before he was also reported missing. All of this as Petito's family on Long Island prepares to say goodbye to the 22-year-old woman found dead last Sunday in Wyoming. Eyewitness News reporter Stacey Sager live in Petito's hometown of Blueport in Suffolk County with the story. Stacey.
Well, Bill, they've been grieving here in Blue Point for days now, and they've been doing it without any sort of closure. The funeral for Gabby Petito will be this Sunday in Holbrook, Sunday afternoon in Holbrook. This is the memorial site where people are paying their respects for the time being. Meanwhile, there is now a warrant out for Brian Laundrie's arrest.
If they find him, they can arrest him, but it seems less and less likely that police will find Brian Laundrie here. They have been searching this 25,000-acre nature reserve in Florida for 6 days now. Here in Gabby Petito's hometown of Blue Point, closure seems a long way off. Her case shining a light on the police department in Moab, Utah, which handled this dispute between Gabby and Brian in the days leading up to her murder.
I feel like they should have did a little more. That's my thought. I don't understand why he was allowed to disappear. That's what I don't understand.
Police in Moab saying they are unaware of any misconduct, but they welcome the investigation. Meanwhile, the indictment unsealed against Laundrie late Thursday, containing a single count unrelated to her murder. It means if police find him, they can arrest him for fraud, using a debit card that didn't belong to him to allegedly withdraw more than $1,000 after Gabby's death. Noreen Gibbons is a friend of the Petito family in from Oregon.
What did she say about Gabby's card?
More than $1,000 after Gabby's death.
Hold on, sorry.
Disappear. That's what I don't understand.
Police in Moab saying they are unaware of any misconduct, but they welcome the investigation. Meanwhile, the indictment unsealed against Laundrie late Thursday, containing a single count unrelated to her murder. It means if police find him, they can arrest him for fraud, using a debit card that didn't belong to him to allegedly withdraw more than $1,000 after.
For using a card that didn't belong to him. I kind of feel like maybe Gabby had taken like her dad's card, maybe, or somebody, like a family member, her mom maybe. Like maybe somebody told her like, here's my card. If you need anything while you're out there, like just use it. Like we got you covered or whatever. And then Brian used that card, and then the parent was like, oh yeah, no, hell no, like arrest him for that, because it'll at least bring him in or whatever. It didn't just have to be like maybe Gabby's card. It could have been like what her parents' card is what I'm guessing, but who knows.
After Gabby's death. Noreen Gibbons is a friend of the Petito family in from Oregon. Her home was supposed to be the last stop on Gabby and Brian's trip.
I don't know if I want him to be dead or if I want him to be alive to face the consequences, you know. I loved him, and I love Gabby.
Gabby will soon be laid to rest. Her funeral set for Sunday afternoon here in Holbrook as her community's heart aches. They wait and wonder if there will ever be any justice.
I think the fact that domestic violence seems to be part of what was going on.
But the bottom line is that this family is broken forever, you know? And it's just so senseless.
So senseless. And we're back here live now at the memorial site here on Montauk Highway and Nichols Road, where people in this community have been paying tribute to Gabby. You know, this is the spot where Bayport and Blue Point come together. And this community really will come together this evening at 7 o'clock. People will be lighting candles in their driveways once again to show a sign of support for the Petito family, and as they await the funeral for Gabby Petito on Sunday. We're live in Blue Point. I'm Steve.
Michael Anderson asked, what kind of dogs do I have? I have a female Labrador. She's like white with like yellow, like blonde, I guess, colored, like specks all over her. She's got like freckles like all over her. And then my other dog is a Chow Chow mixed with a Blue Heeler, and he's a boy. He's the one that bites, but my Labrador is like the sweetest thing ever. I didn't raise like either one of them. I rescued both of them actually from situations that were not so great, but they're here with me now, so we're a happy family now. Alright, next clip is police. False 911 call to Laundrie home could result in charges. And this is courtesy of Fox 13 Tampa Bay. And this was posted September 24th. So it sounds like somebody called the cops on the house. Probably some kind of like swatting situation. Who knows, since like their address was put out there. I mean, it's not surprising that people were gonna fuck around and do things like that. But let's hear what happened. I'm just gonna let the next clips play because I don't know what just happened. My eyes are burning and watering really bad, so I need to take care of this. So sorry, I'm just gonna let whatever play. Just gonna let it play. I'll be back.
May know more about her death than anyone. Evan Axelbank live for us tonight in Northport. Thanks, Evan.
So the question some people are asking is Brian Laundrie alive or dead? Well, we simply can't know that right now, but a renowned psychiatrist believes there are some clues in Laundrie's behavior that might give us a glimpse. Fox 13's Aaron Mesmer joins us live. And Aaron, obviously this is, you know, psychology from the couch, but what did you learn? What did this gentleman or woman say?
Well, the psychiatrist starts by looking at Brian Laundrie's actions, and we have an idea of what he did following Gabby's death. We know that he drove her van all the way back cross country to Florida without her. We know that he's also now accused of using someone else's debit card after Gabby had died. We just don't know whose debit card that was. And then almost as soon as she was reported missing, Brian Laundrie disappeared, not to be heard from again since. So experts have been asking, is this someone who seems like they would take their own life, or is this more like somebody who would take off?
There still weren't any red flags that would indicate we would be here today.
That was Gabby Petito's father on September 15th, telling Fox News he never saw any red flags with Brian Laundrie. But the public, what's going on? How come you're crying? Has now seen plenty. That includes Dr. James Heisman, a renowned Florida psychiatrist who's currently writing a book on personality disorders.
This is pretty much something that happens in America and around the world. Pretty much under the radar.
Dr. Heisman says it's improper to diagnose Laundrie from afar, but he says the reports and video show signs of narcissism that led to an abusive relationship with Gabby. And it's now on display for the world to see.
Everybody sees the real person.
I was apologizing to him.
A 911 call led up to this interaction with police in Utah. Here's what the caller told police.
What were they doing? We drove by and the gentleman was slapping the girl.
Minutes later, Gabby can be seen sobbing as she talked with officers. Laundrie, however, remained calm and seemingly unemotional.
In terms of this disorder, they have no core values.
Dr. Heisman says this knowledge can indicate how a person like that might react under the kind of pressure investigators are putting on Laundrie.
They are very likely to run away, to hide, to think they can get away with it.
Authorities have spent days searching a wildlife refuge near the Laundrie family home in Northport, looking for him, evidence, or both. He's the only person of interest in Gabby's homicide and has been missing since September 14th. Dr. Heisman says even narcissists reach a breaking point.
This is a time when self-harm issues or suicide can be triggered.
And that brings him to the question many are asking. Is Laundrie alive or dead? Dr. Heisman says that likely depends on the extent of any possible personality disorders.
There's a lot of pointing fingers. I didn't do it. I'm not accountable. But there's also those times alone when you can't deny that what's happening in my life is entirely falling apart.
And narcissism is a disorder in which a person has an inflated sense of self-importance. Experts say it can lead to abusive behavior or demeaning behavior. Now, Laundrie, as I said, is accused of using somebody else's debit card. That's what he's wanted for by the FBI. We don't know if that is Gabby's debit card or somebody else's. Unfortunately, as we said from the beginning of this, Cynthia, we don't know. It's impossible. It's impossible to know for sure whether he's alive or dead, but there are these clues that certainly authorities are also looking into.
Answers will come in time, that is for sure, one way or another.
The FBI now looking for Brian Laundrie. His lawyer tells us.
Sorry, let me go ahead and delete the videos that we just saw. And Nicolette Moore dropped a link in the chat, and it leads to News Nation. It's called Discrepancies in Laundrie's Sister's Timeline. Trolls take to Brian's defense. I'll go ahead and put that in the playlist. I'll check it out on my own time. and then I'll see if I'm able to show it, because I'm not too sure at this point. I need to see it first. But if anybody in the chat wants to like check it out or whatever, that's totally cool. But next we're gonna watch Gabby Petito's father apologizes to Cassie Laundrie, and it's courtesy of Dr. Phil, and this was posted September 25th.
His location is unknown.
Dozens of people lining up outside his house demanding answers on Gabby Petito's disappearance.
Where is Gabby? Where is she?
Officers going inside, speaking with family.
You know where Gabby is? Can you tell us anything?
Evidence bags taken inside the home.
Bring Gabby home.
Gabby's parents praying she's found.
I just want to take my daughter and save her and hug her and protect her.
As the country demands to know where she is.
Well, he hasn't spoken to you. He hasn't spoken to the police. He hired an attorney, and his attorney released this statement. The attorney said, "This is understandably an extremely difficult time for both the Petito and Laundrie family. It is our understanding that a search has been organized for Ms. Petito in or near Grand Teton National Park in Wyoming. On behalf of the Laundrie family, it is our hope that the search for Ms. Petito is successful and that Ms. Petito is reunited with her family. On the advice of counsel, the Laundrie family is remaining in the background at this juncture and will have no further comment."
You want me to break that down one by one for you?
Yes.
All right. So we're going to start with the opening line. All right. It's really hard on the Laundrie family and the Petito family. Well, my child is nowhere to be found, and I'm not getting any answers on where to even start. So don't sit there and tell me how difficult it is for you, because you got reporters on your dock.
Where is Gabby? Where is she?
My heart bleeds for you. Then there was, I want the search to be successful. Well, I don't know about you, but when I want something to be successful, I will partake and help to make sure it's successful, not sit in the background. All right? If you love this person and she's your fiance, then you should turn around and, I don't know, lead the darn charge. Like, I should be number 2. You should be number 1. But he's sitting there behind his mom like he's 4 years old. And to be honest with you, you know, I said something on a previous interview that I'm gonna bring up, if that's okay with you. I apologize.
No, please.
You know, I heard yesterday Cassie, the sister's interview, and I reacted emotionally without hearing the entire interview. So I would like to personally apologize to Cassie Laundrie, because I heard through that interview that she hasn't talked to her brother and she wishes she could help. And they're not talking to her from what I understand. So I want to apologize to her, because I jumped to conclusion, and that is wrong of me. And if you can talk to your parents and pressure them into, say something, listen, print out a map, draw a circle, and fill it into an airplane and throw it in the front yard. I don't care. You don't have to say a thing. Just tell me where to start. We'll start. I mean, you're going from Wyoming to Florida. That's a lot of ground.
Well, she spoke out and says she loves Gabby. What's your reaction?
I don't doubt it. Gabby's a lovable person. She's an amazing girl. How could you not love her? She might just be as frustrated as we are. I don't know. And I passed judgment, and that was wrong of me. So Cassie Laundrie, I apologize.
Well, you said in an open plea to Brian's parents, in an open letter, you said, quote, "We believe you know the location where Brian left Gabby. We beg you to tell us. Gabby lived with you for over a year. She was going to be your daughter-in-law. How can you keep her location hidden? Please, if you or your family have any decency left, please tell us where Gabby is located. Tell us if we are even looking in the right place."
Yeah.
So you believe that Brian has at least confided in the family where he last saw her, where he left her. Do you have a story or a question?
I have a story, but I don't think I will share it with Dr. Phil. I think everybody has a story probably, but I'm just saying, like, that venue would be too large. I like to keep my stuff to myself and people that are close around me. All right, let's continue for a little bit. Next clip is called Dog the Bounty Hunter Bangs on Brian Laundrie's Door. So I'm going to guess that this is some raw footage. I don't think there'll be like any commentary from the news people, but let's watch it. This is courtesy of Fox 13 Tampa Bay, and this was posted September 25th. So I'm guessing this is when the whole situation, how do I say this? This is where Dog the Bounty Hunter got involved in the situation. I guess that's what I want to say. I want to say that this is the first time that he came out and inserted himself and tried to contribute to the investigation. Michael Anderson says, have you seen Pete Davidson playing as Dog on SNL? No, but I will search it and I'll watch it later. I wish YouTube was more like forgiving when it comes to sharing other channels' contents, but yeah. Okay. Well, I see the thumbnail. It looks funny. Oh, dog. Okay, so he's gonna go back to the house and knock on the door. I did see this clip, and then he comes around and I think he briefly speaks to media.
Why are you looking for them?
I can't talk right now, I'm sorry.
Can you tell us why you're here, sir?
Well,
do you have any tips?
I'm trying to get some tips. That's what he said. Alright, let's continue. This is called Here's Where Dog the Bounty Hunter Thinks Brian Laundrie Is. And this is Fox 13 Tampa Bay again.
Because I lost a daughter at about the same age, I know what the parents feel like, okay? And you want justification. You want the guy behind bars. All of it's alleged that he even committed the murder. But circumstantially, it looks like he did. You know, the strongest lead I see is that one of her friends said he had been in the Appalachian Mountains by himself for a couple months. Now, he's not just a camper then, he is a outdoorsman. So in order to do that, I think because of his age, he felt comfortable. If there's anywhere right now that looks the hottest, that could be the area. It all depends on the picture they got of him the other day where they're hunting now, if really that was him. No one has said that. If not, Appalachian Mountains is the best, but it covers several states. So where did he go in at? That's where you start your tracking point. From right when he went into the mountain with dogs. They've got so much infrared. I mean, they're gonna catch him. You know, the only reason I would doubt if he's in the swamp is they've been hunting it really good, okay? And I'm not sure that was him in the picture. You know, it was blurry, blah, 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 like kind of an old bank robbery picture, right? But you couldn't really tell if that was him. Now, if that was him 100%, he's in the swamp, okay? And then, so he moves in the night, and he probably sleeps up in the day. Now, the FBI has ultraviolet light tracking. Remember the Boston bomber? How they found the kid in the boat when they went over and the tarp was over him? They've got that. So I'm sure they're using that to cover with drones. I mean, he can't cover with mud. It's not Arnold Schwarzenegger. He can't cover with anything. He's gonna light up. You know, I don't think he went to New York, or there's been a couple rumors he might have went to Mexico. I've been to Mexico. So if he's down there wanted, a white boy that doesn't know Spanish, the cartel's gonna grab him for the reward. So no, he's not down there. You know, I don't think, who knows? I've had to eat my words before. Sounds like when they got into argument, she screamed a lot. Now, if he's out in that tent, your voice will go, what, 2 miles? And she's screaming. What if he put his hand over her mouth to shut her up and killed her? Or did he do it worse? It all depends. The autopsy report is out, I believe, how she died, okay? That's gonna be your murder death penalty sentence. So how do you say it could have been an accident? You know, the guy that killed my daughter in a car wreck, right? He passed too, but it was an accident. How do you say that? So, but right now we got to hunt him as a wanted fugitive. So the reason I went to Mr. Laundrie is because I carry a reputation with me. See me every night on Pluto TV. The reputation is he gives you a second chance. He gonna get you.
He said Pluto TV.
Yeah, but he gives you a second chance. So I thought, wow, the dad's gonna, you know, see me and crack, and I know the kid knows me. Probably one of my fans. So I thought the dad would answer and talk. But I was very persistent without disturbing the peace and knocked a few times so they saw it was me. And I didn't play nasty and put a copy of the warrant on their front door, none of that. I was very respectful. And the dad can still reach out to me through social media. Let's get the kid captured alive. Alive. So the next step that I have is to, now we work off leads, okay? We don't have a crystal ball where we can say, oh, there's where he's at. Well, now we work off leads. Somebody knows something. Somebody else knows where he's at, where they dropped him off at, or did they drop him off? That person is gonna call us. Because again, we're not the police. This is anonymous. We don't have to tell. We are willing to go to extreme measures to find him, whether it's in Mexico, I've got connections there, or anywhere. I think again that he's young enough, not an experienced criminal, but what is his greatest experience? Okay, outdoorsman. That's what he does the best. I don't think he can shoplift and live in the city and be on the run and, you know, sleep at cheap hotels. I think that he is what's in his blood.
I think he can. If he's really like that scared and is running that hard, he could resort to like shoplifting and stuff like that. And I'll tell you why, because I don't know if you've ever heard, I think his name is Robert Durst, but it's a documentary on HBO. I want to say he's in court now, but there's a documentary called The Jinx. If you've never seen it, you should check it out. It's interesting. He is a rich man, and he might have allegedly killed his wife. And then he assumed like a new identity, like a whole dress, wig, like he started dressing like as a woman. And he got an apartment in like Galveston, somewhere in Texas. And he got caught because he stole a hoagie from the supermarket. And this was like a rich man who had like been to college. He was college educated and stuff like that. So I mean, there's no telling what somebody like desperate would be like capable of doing. But I mean, he's speculating, I'm speculating, we're all speculating. That's just my opinion.
He's in them hills. On a 1 to 10, he's probably a 6 compared to the outdoorsmen and some of the guys that I've captured. Okay, those 2 New York guys, the one that killed the other guy we was 10 minutes behind him. That's good stuff. So this guy's not experienced like that. We get a scent of a trail. We get a scent, he's done. He's not gonna hide in the trees and dig a cave and all that. He's got a small tent, maybe a knife, because he's gotta stay out in the open. Hope parents didn't give him anything else to protect himself. How's he eating? Gotta kill the game. So, you know, just don't walk up on him and say, hey, you're wanted, freeze.
Today, Gabby Petito will be laid to rest in Long Island, New York. The 22-year-old's funeral begins at noon. This video is from Northport, where people are offering their respects. Last night was the first memorial service since Petito was pronounced dead. And this morning, the search for Brian Laundrie enters its 2nd week. It's also getting a boost from a world-famous bounty hunter and 2 rewards totaling $30,000. Fox 35's Jordan Bowen brings us the very latest.
The Several knocks, but no answer for Dog the Bounty Hunter. A big name known for catching criminals is now joining the manhunt to find 23-year-old Brian Laundrie.
So the reason I went to Mr. Laundrie is because I carry a reputation with me. You see me every night on Pluto TV. The reputation is he gives you a second chance. He gonna get you, but he gives you a second chance.
Is it just me, or is Dog talking kind of crazy right now? I don't know. I feel like that was a promo, like a shameless plug. You can see me every night on Pluto TV. I have a reputation. Like, I don't know. Like, he's definitely into himself, but I don't know. That felt kind of awkward just now.
Chance. So I thought, wow, the dad's gonna, you know, see me and crack, and I know the kid knows me, probably one of my fans. So I thought the dad would answer and talk, but I was very persistent without disturbing the peace.
Saturday, he paid a visit to Laundrie's parents' home. His expertise could be a major help to investigators. The move comes exactly 2 weeks since 22-year-old Gabby Petito was reported missing. Her body has since been recovered in Wyoming, with the medical examiner ruling her death a homicide. Meanwhile, Laundrie, a person of interest in her disappearance, is still missing. For the last week, search crews have left, adding that they worried he might hurt himself. Search crews resumed their efforts Saturday. So far, they've already combed through the entire Northport side of the reserve and now much of the Venice side, but still no sign of Laundrie. Dog the Bounty Hunter spoke with detectives at Link Saturday, saying he's determined to help bring justice to Gabby's family.
Well, now we work off leads. Somebody knows something. Somebody else knows where he's at, where they dropped him off at, or did they drop him off?
Jordan Bowen, Fox 35 News.
Jordan, thank you. You can listen to a full interview with Dog the Bounty Hunter about his...
Okay, we can continue on. Let me delete these last two videos that we just saw. Let me just take a look at where we're at. I think I'm just going to show these next two videos, and then we'll call it a day. After that, it's like a 10-minute video, and it's probably like a timeline, so I think that would be a good place to start next time. So yeah, 2 more videos and then we'll call it a night. Okay, everyone? Next video is called Tracking the Gabby Petito Disappearance, and this was courtesy of ABC 7 Chicago, and this was posted September 26th, so it's probably going to be like a timeline. So yeah, we'll just watch a couple more videos and then we'll call it a night. Thank you everybody for joining me and for joining the discussion and showing your support. Thank you so much for the thumbs up. Please make sure you're subscribed and you've hit the notification bell to all, so that way you will get a notification as soon as I schedule a live or go live, and then you can come join us and we can discuss the news clips that I choose for us to watch and comment about.
A reported domestic dispute in Florida with the white van. We drove by and the gentleman was slapping the girl. He was slapping her? Yes.
I don't know. We've been fighting all morning and...
On September 19th, 2021, 9 days after being declared missing, a body matching Gabby Petito's description was found in a Wyoming national park. Petito had been traveling across the U.S. in a van with her boyfriend, Brian Laundrie, and documenting the journey on social media.
I love the van.
While we still don't know exactly what happened to Petito, ABC News has used Petito's social media, police reports, and public records to piece together some of the events that led up to her disappearance. After purchasing a van and deciding to take a cross-country trip together, the couple left Laundrie's family home in Northport, Florida, where they had been living together for more than a year. They then drove to Blue Point, New York for an event with Petito's family and left New York on July 2nd with the intention of driving west to visit state and national parks. Petito and Laundrie traveled through Kansas, Colorado, and into Utah. Gabby documented the trip on Instagram along the way, sharing photos of herself and Laundrie using hashtags like van life and expedition happiness. In mid-August, police in Moab, Utah responded to a 911 call involving a domestic dispute between the couple.
What's your guys' names? Gabby, Brian, okay.
Police shared their body camera footage of the interaction. Officers reported that the couple admitted to arguing that Petito had slapped Laundrie, but denied that Laundrie hit her.
Take a seat right over here on the curb for me.
they concluded that insufficient evidence existed to justify criminal charges. 7 days later, Petito and Laundrie posted a video documenting their trip on YouTube.
Gabby Petito never goes outside. All the chocolate melted.
The following week, Petito's family spoke to Gabby for the final time.
She sounded good and excited to continue her trip and excited to start her YouTube channel.
And on that same day, a collage of photos was posted to her Instagram account. Those would be the last documented photos of the 22-year-old. On August 27th, 2 witnesses saw Petito and Laundrie arguing at a restaurant in Jackson Hole, Wyoming.
His demeanor, the way he was acting, he freaked me out.
On that same day, Gabby's mother, Nicole, said she received an odd text in which Gabby was referring to her grandfather by his first name. 2 days later, Miranda Baker shared on TikTok that she and her boyfriend gave Laundrie a ride.
He approached us asking us for a ride because he needed to go to Jackson, which we were going to Jackson that night.
Northport police later said that Baker's timeline was, quote, plausible. On September 1st, Laundrie returned to Florida in the couple's van by himself. 10 days later, Petito's family filed a missing persons report, stating that Petito had stopped communicating with her friends and family and that she was believed to be near Grand Teton National Park in Wyoming. In the week after the report was filed, police named Laundrie as a person of interest in the case.
We're hopeful to talk to him. He needs to talk to us.
He later was reported missing by his family, and police began the search for Laundrie in the nearby Carlton Reserve, a 25,000-acre nature preserve. On September 19th, authorities recovered a body in Bridger Teton National Forest, consistent with the description of Gabby Petito. The following day, police and FBI raided the Laundrie family home while the search for Brian continued. The Teton County Coroner's Office later confirmed that the recovered body was Gabby Petito, and the death was ruled a homicide. The U.S. District Court of Wyoming has now issued an arrest warrant for Laundrie on debit card fraud charges following a federal grand jury indictment.
Alright, so this is going to be our last video clip for today. It's called Attorney FBI requested some personal items belonging to Brian Laundrie to assist them with DNA match. And this was posted September 26th and courtesy of 10 Tampa Bay. And then we'll call it a night after this, y'all.
There are still so many questions about the final moments of Gabby's life. Investigators think her boyfriend, Brian Laundrie, has the answers, but he's still missing, and teams have been searching for him in the Carlton Reserve since last Saturday. Tonight, we're learning the FBI went to the Laundrie home in Northport today, according to Laundrie's lawyer. Our Shannon Clough is there now, and Shannon, I understand you've been in touch with Brian's attorney.
Miranda, his lawyer is Stephen Bertolino out of New York, and he tells me tonight that, yes, the FBI was at Brian Laundrie's family's home here in Northport tonight. What they were doing was they were taking personal items of Brian Laundrie's, which they're going to use for DNA matching. So I was told from the lawyer that the family was able to provide what they could. Of course, tonight I have questions for FBI officials as to what this DNA matching is going to reveal in this investigation and exactly why they are doing it. Of course, as we wait for those answers here on 10 Tampa Bay, we are out here on scene. We're keeping a close eye on the Laundrie family's home. I can tell you, as far as we've been out here this evening, we haven't seen much going on. We have not seen them leave the home tonight. And also kind of same goes for 20 minutes from here at the Carlton Reserve. I just came from this location to where I did not see law enforcement near the entrance of the preserve, but I can confirm tonight for you that the spokesperson for the Northport Police Department telling me they are continuing to search this wooded area. They say that they have scaled back their search this weekend as they're searching areas that are harder to access, which they tell me are like bodies of water. They say that requires less people, and I did just get new information from the Northport Police Department. They tell me no set time on when they're going to end their search for the night, but they say they do plan to continue to search the Carlton Reserve.
All right, so we'll end it like that. We've got 39 clips to go. I know that doesn't sound like a lot, but a couple of these are a little lengthy. Like there's a 2-hour conference that we're gonna sit through. I don't know how much of that is actual conference. Sometimes these videos run long because like they'll hit record as soon as they get there, and then some time will pass, and then it'll be conference, and then who knows, somebody will forget to, you know, hit stop or whatever, so I don't know how much of that is actually like information or how much of it we're gonna skip through, but we'll get to it. And then there's also a 42-minute or 52-minute release of the second body cam from that day, so that's something else we're still gonna watch. And then there's still some updates and things like that, and I hope to be completely caught up because I am still adding to this playlist, so I have not stopped looking for updates. So this playlist will grow, and especially considering you know, I can't go live every single day, so I am on top of it. So I just want to thank everybody again for showing up. I appreciate it so much. It's very important to me that we have a place where we can hang out and watch news clips and talk about them and maybe get to know each other a little bit. I want to go ahead and very quickly post one more time the link to my other channel, because that's where I'll be doing open panels. If anybody wants to come up and talk to me, or you know, like talk about a subject or a topic or just a free form chat, that's where I will be doing that. Also remember, I have an IG where I also update on some stories. To be honest, since I started working, I haven't been able to stay on it like I used to, but I am trying to improve my routine to include all the things that I like to do. Work has been like crazy, so that has to be priority for now. Let's see, what else can I share with you guys? I shared my other channel, my YouTube. Here, I'll also let everyone know that I take donations via Cash App, so the link for that is here. If anybody is moved to donate to me, I would appreciate it. If not, it's cool. I enjoy talking with everybody. That's not why I do this. I do this because I do have a curiosity and an interest in true crime and legal topics and crime in general. It's what I do anyways. Even if I didn't have a channel, I would be researching these stories. So it just makes sense to have a channel to share stuff with everybody. So good night, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. I'm gonna go ahead and share my outro at this point, and I hope to see you all very soon, and I hope you all have a great week, or if I'm hoping it won't be a week before I come back, but you know, if it is, I hope you all have a great week. So thanks a lot, everybody. See y'all soon.